for Sunset City will be departing soon.
I'm still surprised we were able to get Gilly to do it that one time.
We're actually live, by the way.
We're live right now?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Oh, I'm still surprised we were able to get Gilly to do it that one time.
That's you.
Suris,
you're not even.
There's nothing about those words.
You're not even facing the other side of the table, Suris. You look like you're just.
Oh, do I have
own...
do I have my thing from the other podcast?
Yeah, you've got
on?
your
Hold
off
on.
to the side avatar, and it looks like you just do not want to hear what we have to say.
Well, I don't, but here we go. This should fix it.
Nobody ever wants to hear what I have to say.
So after taking Christmas off to spend time with our families and stuff, we're back for a new episode, and Garrulous64, you are in charge of the introductions.
Yeah, hey everybody! Welcome to Sunset City, the Sonic podcast for the classic and modern age. That was it. We're here today with Garrulous64, me, Channel Pup,
It's a me.
him,
Oh
and
god,
Suris.
my phone's telling me I'm supposed to be awake right now. That's
Phone
weird.
is ringing. That was your get out of bed alarm.
That was my get out of bed alarm.
Gilly is not here today because he is busy.
He's got
He's dead.
simping to do.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I don't have any placeholder for Gilly right now. I was thinking maybe we use the graves, but I thought, you know what, let's do something interesting for Gen 2. Let's do scarecrows instead of gravestones.
Get a little Gilly voodoo doll in there.
We'll do a scare Gilly, you know? Gareth, can you also talk the audience through the super chat policy and the Patreon
Sure.
plug?
Yes, of course. Right, sorry, I forget about those things.
No worries.
We have, so super chats on this live stream will be read at the end of the stream in very comical fashion.
And no sooner.
And we also, no sooner, so don't ask about it or else. And we have a Patreon that you can find in the description.
You don't have to go any further than that.
You
You don't have to like click on it or anything, but like you can find it in the description. That's,
it is
that's
there.
Funny.
You will see it there. I'm trustworthy.
Let's see. Let's look for some scare.
God, wouldn't it be?
Wait, today we're gonna be talking about Sonic Dream Team, and also maybe Sonic Forces Overclocked once Suris leaves.
Prime as well.
Us.
I mean, did any of you boys get the chance to watch the first episode of season 3 on YouTube?
I had time and I didn't watch it.
You
Sorry.
had time and you didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty.
That's the most reasonable answer there. Mine is very similar.
Okay, we can at least try and pretend to be enthusiastic about Sonic Prime for the fans that are in the audience, but okay,
nope,
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie to the fans.
Do you guys want to hear my review of episode 3?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it episode 1 of season 3?
Episode 1 of season 3 is on YouTube right now. It's called Grim Tidings.
Okay.
Which I'm wondering if that is a little reference to Christmas, which was quite recent. Did you guys have a good Christmas, by the way?
I had a pretty good Christmas.
Yeah.
Stressful, but good.
Yeah. What about you, Garrett64?
I had a good time. I usually see a lot of family, and then a week later we do New Year's Day, so it's like all these people all the time. Woo! And then I need to sleep for like 3 days.
Sounds like you're sick of them, frankly.
No, I love them. It's just...
Nah, it sounds like you're sick of them.
When I'm surrounded by people all the time, it gets me very drained, you know?
Nah,
yeah.
You are the only one who experiences that.
I know. The only introvert. It's like a new book series.
You're the one. Everyone else loves people. You specifically are the Grinch.
Hey, it feels like that sometimes. No,
Am I the only one
I definitely... I'll Grinch it up.
Am I the only one who's an introvert?
Am I the only one that likes Sonic Unleashed?
But okay, Sonic Prime,
Yes.
Grim Tidings. So I think going by, I'm gonna
God, there's a lot of starts to sentences there.
I know that these aren't seasons. That it's just a thing Netflix says so they can pretend they didn't cancel it after one season. I know that these are not seasons, but pulling that into account, I think the season openers, quotation points, have been the highlight of the show so far, anyways. Like
The shadows in there?
there's that. But like the first episode of season 1, I thought that was quite good. The first episode of season 2, I thought that was quite good. And now that we're on season 3, I think the opener of this one is pretty good. I much prefer 9 as a villain. The Chaos Council are in there, and they're still cringe, but they're only in there a little bit, and I'm hoping that the rest of the show will follow suit. Shadow is in it still. He's in it some more this time. And I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to give away one very minor thing, though. One minor thing. This is not, like, going to reveal any plot outcomes, but it's a very minor thing. Remember in Season 2, the excuse they made for Shadow not being in the other episodes, just to keep him out of the show, was that he couldn't go through the gateways.
Yeah, even using the tech.
Yeah, through the plot
to
gates.
do it.
Well, in this episode, he just takes the side entrance.
What?
Yeah. It's literally that simple.
That sort of gets around my issue, because have you ever noticed when Shadow was in the Sonic Boom cartoon, it was like he was in 2 episodes in 2 seasons or something, maybe like 3 episodes? Like, I'm wondering if they don't want them to use Shadow.
I mean, there's
Like,
allegedly, like, there's allegedly a little bit of embargoing on Shadow that they're only allowed to use him for a certain amount.
Why?
That Sega's,
Like,
their
if
thingies.
this was a Sonic and Shadow show, I would be, like...
Everyone would love it.
Like a buddy cop thriller or something.
Everybody would
like,
love
if
it.
this was like a good cop, bad cop show with Sonic and Shadow, I would be all over it. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just like... It feels like more missed potential again. You know?
Everybody would love the show if it was a Sonic and Shadow TV show. And maybe we're going to do another instance of hope the next Sonic thing is better, but maybe Season 3 will have a bit more of Shadow in it, given that now there is literally no excuse for him to not be able to make it into the shadow spaces, unless because it's a crack. There's a little crack within, like, you know how they're made of these block thingies? There's a little crack between the blocks. Maybe the other shadow spaces don't have that. But that's how he gets in. Takes the side entrance. Sloppy writing, but whatever, it gets Shadow in the story, I guess. But, yeah, not brilliant. But, I mean, Shadow's characterization, Prime is one of the best things to happen to Shadow in an official capacity in decades. Like, and Shadow's characterization in here is no slouch. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to say, oh, it's better than the previous Prime episodes, because it's not like they, listen to fan feedback or anything on this, because, again, it's all one season, technically, and this, that, and the other. But what we see of Shadow here is stuff I've wanted to see for a little bit, and I'm glad we are seeing it. Let me just move Scaregirl.
All right, maybe I'll watch it after this.
I mean, I would say this was an episode worth watching. I think it's quite cool that we've got a villain that wants to kind of play God, and I think, 9 as a villain is kind of fun. But we'll see how things go.
There's a good conflict with there is no world in which what Sonic wants and what 9 wants can be the same thing right now.
Yeah.
Sonic wants all of his friends back. That necessarily means that 9 needs to be deleted. 9 wants to rewrite the world in a way that it's not, it doesn't screw him over in specific as hard as it does.
Yeah.
And that requires not having the world where Sonic has his friends.
There were
Have
things
they explicitly stated that, like, if it goes back together, those other shadow spaces don't exist anymore?
I mean, it's not explicitly stated, but 9
it's
says...
been heavily implied.
9 says, if you... he says at the end of Season 2, if you succeed in putting Green Hill back together, what happens to me? Did you ever,
Yeah,
consider...
No, that is a very interesting conundrum
that.
for Sonic, because, like, he does not like killing people. So, like...
Yeah, so if we explored way more of this way sooner, I think that would be really cool. And that's the thing, is there are elements of Sonic Prime that I think are really good. And I think it shouldn't be too dismissed in that I do think as far as the quality of stories and storytelling in Sonic goes, I still think Sonic Prime is leaps and bounds better than the Pontaf era, for example. I
just don't want it to be one of those things where... And Sonic suffered from this in the past, where the story and plot are something that's incredibly interesting to read about on a wiki, and incredibly frustrating to watch pan out.
Right, yeah.
It's had that problem for a while, where, like, there's all these really good ideas that are just there, and we've got access to them, and when fans are talking about them, people listening to those fans are like, oh my god, I didn't know Sonic was so deep. And then, like, they actually watch the thing and they're like, oh my god, I didn't know Sonic was. Ugh.
Didn't know Sonic
Like,
was so silly.
It's a problem. It's a problem that Sonic's had for a long time with damn near everything it's made. And I really hope we get to a point one day where that's not the case.
Where
but
for once it can be as good as it is on paper.
yeah.
Mm.
And it's like there are times where it is, right? So like Adventure 1 and 2, I feel like it is there and has been there, especially because those games came out in a time where that was really, really good in its cinematic storytelling for the time that it came out.
I mean, I like to think it's there, but with the silly lens on, with the silly lens, because like
It is silly.
It's just
I was
silly,
just
isn't
thinking
it?
about
Like-
an SA2. You know when Sonic's, I think it's in Dark Story after Sonic fights the egg golem and he jumps towards the golem.
The
and he's,
that moment.
like screaming and like I think It Doesn't Matter is playing in the background and
Yes.
it's so funny. Like
It's very.
I love that scene so much.
It is very funny, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, so I my girlfriend hadn't actually seen the story of most Sonic things. She'd just seen the movies. So I played through Sonic Adventure 2 just with her so that she could see the story of it. And there are a lot of moments where like you're playing through the hero story and you go, huh, this is really by the books, but it's fine. Then you go through the dark story and you're like, huh, that's really fucking silly. But it's still okay. Like the egg golem moment, and I think the other major one was in the hero story where all of the emeralds get yanked out of the freaking space pod or the spacecraft that they're in.
Oh yeah, because Knuckles messes with the controls.
But
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
thing is also though, like silly can take on so many different definitions. Like my reasoning for thinking Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of silly is completely different from why I think Sonic Adventure 1 is kind of silly. Like I was playing through Sonic Adventure 1 actually while I was at my sister's for Christmas. And I was just playing through it. I was like, this is the cutest Sonic game. Like by a landslide. This is the cutest one. All that stuff of that stupid robot taking Amy away and Sonic chasing it through Twinkle Park and just all of this and the lovers special going on there and the little conflict between Knuckles that lasts for like 1 second. It's so
There's so
silly.
many like little notable moments in that game.
Yeah, and like also just how observational Sonic is with everything. Everything he sees, he's got a little whoa comment going on. He's always having a revelation 24/7 in that game. And I love him for it. Because he just looks like a guy that's been dropped into the world for the very first time. And it's just so silly.
Yeah.
I love silly Sonic.
But
It's so silly.
I've
It
always
makes
thought
sense
of Sonic Adventure as being like Indiana Jones meets Love Actually, and I just think it's perfect.
especially when you get to whatchamacallit, why is my brain saying Lost City? The Lost World.
Lost World.
Yeah,
Oh my
especially
God,
when
you
you're in
could
Lost
also-
World.
You don't want to remember Lost World.
You could legitimately remake Love Actually, but it is Sonic Adventure 1. And I kind of want to do that now.
Yeah, do it.
I want to do it.
No,
I want to do. Right, I've got so many projects. I'm stacked. Once Radioactive Spider-Man is done, I will get straight on to a Sonic Adventure adaptation. Like
You gotta make
Like,
another Klonoa fan film.
I've
was
already
cool.
made. I've already made 2. One of them's just a re-release.
Oh, do it again.
You want another one? Did you like it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
I thought it
hell
was
yeah.
neat.
I thought you hated Klonoa.
What?
Yeah.
No. No, I don't hate Klonoa. I played the games when they came out in the released remakes. It was good.
You hated him.
I hated them.
I'd say
Yeah.
they're pretty wahoo.
You said Klonoa had the single least appealing character design in history.
I don't think I would say that. If I would say that about like Charmy B, I think.
I feel like a lot of that is imparted on by Charmy's abrasive personality.
His abrasive personality.
Yeah.
He's worst. He's the worst.
All right. Well,
What are we talking about?
we were talking about Sonic Prime season.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Episode 1. But like I think I've said all I really have to say about it on it. I think what's going to happen is, like, we get this episode, it's good, it's reestablishing things, it takes place all in the Grim, and you've got Sonic and Shadow versus Nine as the central conflict. I think next episode, they'll come up with some other stupid reason for Shadow to not appear. Like, maybe there isn't a convenient side entrance this time. And
Got
then...
picked up by a giant bird and they gotta go save him.
Or he gets into the universe, and then it turns out that using the side entrance doesn't really anchor you very well to it, and he'll have to, like, he's in there for a time limit or he'll die.
Yeah, and then we're back in Pirate Town, and Knuckles the Dread is like, me beauty! And then we have more of that until the end. I don't know, maybe there is every chance that...
leave his universe?
Sorry, go on.
Didn't he go to a different universe?
No, he went to the Dead Green Hill.
He went to New York City, though. Dread was in New York City, wasn't he?
Dread did. Yeah, Dread can.
So why the fuck can Shadow not go
No,
in
we've
there?
been over this. This was a conversation we had in the Season 2 review. I think, like, some fans have said, oh, it's because he has Prism energy because he's been in contact with the Prism, where Shadow hasn't, but then explains
That's
some
the most fucking shit answer I've ever... Literally, it's probably just the mandates. They were
Just
like, yeah,
anything
Knuckles
but
can go anywhere
Shadow.
you want, because you can use Knuckles all day.
Hey, you know
Shadow...
You know that
No
thing?
way.
People would definitely watch a Sonic and Shadow buddy cop multiverse show.
We're not gonna do it.
We just can't. We just refuse. Not gonna happen.
The mandates won't allow for it.
I
whatever
wasn't
the
mad
mandates
about
are.
it until just now.
But
Now I'm feeling a little frusty.
But,
You're a little frusty?
I feel a little frusty about it.
Going by my overall opinions on Season 1 and 2, because I think it really does come across when in casual conversation that I fucking hate this show. I don't. I think it's the second worst Sonic show as of right now. But that doesn't mean I think it's bad. I think there's actually a surprising bar of quality for Sonic television media. But what I was going to say is I think Sonic Prime feels like a show that has, like, 10 episodes worth of story stretched out across fucking 20-something. I think we might finally be cutting to the chase now. But, you know, maybe not. We'll see. I'm hoping we're not going to have more going into the pirate dimension and doing this, that, and the other. I'm hoping we're really going to start wrapping things up now. You know?
I really wish that this had been more of a Sonic what if as opposed to a Sonic toy marketing line.
So as in it's
show.
another toy
Exactly.
marketing line. If it's like Marvel's what if.
Well, yeah, but so when I'm saying more of a what if, I'm meaning more like these other dimensions don't, aside from New York City, there's not a single dimension in Sonic Prime that makes sense within the realm of what Sonic is. How does not having Sonic create the pirate dimension, and how does not having Sonic create the jungle dimension?
No, that's because
Well, you
Jolly
see,
Roger died.
Sonic Jolly Roger Craig Smith.
like
He put all his treasure in one place for the
And
next
that's why we
person.
got Devin Mack as Sonic.
Dredged out on a boat.
he put all of his treasure in one place, and it's yours. You just have to find it, and this will create the Great Hedgehog era, where everybody's
Well,
looking.
it's all yours if you find it. And it's like Eggman is Jolly Roger.
And then we're gonna have a 4Kids dub where he says, "I put it all in one piece instead of one place," and everybody's
See,
gonna
that
be
really
upset.
threw me off because I was like, then why do you call it One Piece? Why would you do that? One Piece live action, pretty good, by the way. Just
I
saying.
wouldn't know. I don't watch Sailor Moon. But, yeah, Prime.
I am 400 episodes into One Piece now. I will finish it. I
I'm
swear to
around
God.
like 380, I think.
Oh, so you're in Thriller Bark. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I finished Thriller Bark. I'm done with it. This is a One Piece podcast now. Here we go.
Oh right, no, you're in Sabaody.
I
So,
was at the very beginning. Yeah.
The reason why we didn't talk about Sonic Dream Team last episode was because Suris and Gilly hadn't played it yet, so we didn't see much point. As of right now, Gilly's not here, and Suris has played like 5 minutes of it.
So funnily enough, when I got up, I figured out why my controller wasn't working. I understand now.
What happened?
The specific Bluetooth controller that I got has settings on it that change how different phones read it. And so instead of hitting the power button, you have to hold the power button and hit the R button, and that changes its coding to Microsoft Xbox controller. And then my phone was able to read it. Before, it was reading it just as a D3, and it didn't know what a D3 was, but I was like, yeah, my phone's Bluetooth connected to my controller and it's not working. I don't know what the hell's going on. Kill me. But Yeah, no, apparently you have to have secret button combinations when you turn the controller on, or it won't connect properly.
Konami code.
I
Link.
hate so for anybody who's wondering, the BSP D3 has secret button combinations to make it work with an iPhone. Good to know. Things I didn't understand before, but now I know. Ugh.
It doesn't work with Bluetooth.
So how much of it have you
like everything
played
else.
now?
So I have, hold on, I can go ahead and boot it right up because I have gotten through an iPhone not turning on correctly. That's where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
I hate these things.
Nice.
No, lower volume.
Just play it
please.
now and tell us what you think, okay?
How's it going?
Do
So
a live play.
So there is something that I really, really enjoy about it and something that I really, really dislike. I like the freedom that I have when I'm playing in the game. It felt, when I was playing on touchscreen, the freedom felt awful. The camera controls feel bad on touchscreen. There's no...
fighters?
I'm going to end you. But no, I really like how open the world feels despite obviously being level-based. What I don't like, and I think this is mostly a criticism of it being a mobile game, this is entirely, just something that's because the game is built on the medium that it is. I don't like the fact that so much of it feels automatic. Rings automatically come to you. The homing attack works from a billion miles away and doesn't have to be aimed very well. Like, it's just, a lot of things are done for you really, really easily. And I feel like if the game was on a console, there wouldn't be as much of that. But because it's on a mobile game and they have to accommodate playing it on a touchscreen, that's a by necessity thing. So I don't know how I feel about that, because I can't rightly criticize the game for that, but I also do not like it. It's weird, but I do enjoy the level layouts. They feel a lot more Sonic than just running around in Frontiers, but I think it's because of all of the automatic stuff that's in this particular game. I think I like movement in Frontiers still way more than I like movement in this game. Like, I want this game's levels, and I want the open world movement system of Frontiers to traverse around this game with.
That could be fun.
I don't know.
Because
I feel like I know what you mean, but I don't know if I would use the same word.
Okay.
I feel like it doesn't feel like these things are automatic to me. It feels like they are very simplified, but not to the point of automation, though. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, it's
This game doesn't have much
simplified down
automation.
to, like, 2 buttons, effectively. 2 buttons and the analog stick. You got boost, and then you've got everything else, basically. And, because, like, even the homing attack doubles up as the light dash across the rings and stuff like that. I think
it's got a weird hoppy air dash as well.
Yeah, I thought the air dash
Yeah, I
was
like
kinda
having
good,
that
though.
back.
I don't know, I quite liked the air dash. But,
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. It feels... Bear in mind, I've played a lot of Frontiers, and I literally just came off the back of replaying Adventure 2, so my brain's in a very, this is how the homing attack is supposed to work,
It's
mode
different,
where the game's
definitely.
concerned. And it going through Adventure 2 again reminded me how much I love the rail grind system in that game specifically.
yeah, whereas in
going to
this,
the-
it's like... I was quite surprised, though, that,
It's
like,
super
switching...
automated here.
Well, it's both yes and no compared to the more modern ones. So, like... Because in the more modern ones, change rail, you...
Is
flick-
just flicking the stick to the left and
Yeah,
right, and
flick
this
the
one you
stick,
have
yeah.
to hit the jump button.
Yeah,
It is closer to what Adventure 2 and Heroes had for
But
changing
yeah,
rails.
you can so easily home attack onto them that you might as well just be flicking the stick. Flicking the stick. You might as well just be, doing that. Although I don't know which one I like better, to be honest, though. Like, I feel like they're utilized a bit differently. By the time you get onto, like, a rail grinding segment in your average modern Sonic game, it's effectively Temple Run. Whereas here, they feel like more of a, hey, there's a rail here, you can take that, or you can take some other route, like...
Well, it's also, a lot of that also comes down to the level design in this game more. I've gone through, I think I'm like on Act 4 of the first level, because the act structure in here is kind of weird. It feels almost Sonic Colors-y in that you have a main level and then you have a bunch of filler levels. that are made with
Kinda,
the same
it's-
assets right after.
It's weird because it's like you've got Act 1, 2, 3, and then the boss. But within Act 1, you've then got like 5 challenges. And they don't work the same way as like cyberspace does, where it's all packed into the level. It's like you go on Act 1 and do challenge number 3 or whatever, and you've got a surprisingly kind of different level layout, but only slightly tweaked. So it's like the main acts, Act 1, 2, and 3, all feel like proper Sonic levels, but then there's the sub-acts within that, and it's like, it's so strange because the level layouts are still kind of different, which I kind of like, I guess. Like, I mean, I'd definitely rather that
It's
than...
better than reusing levels.
Oh,
You know?
definitely. But, like, I would say, like...
I definitely think there's, like... I was thinking it was almost a little like Generations, too.
Yes.
Like how they change the levels a lot.
Yeah.
But, and sometimes even give you just whole different sections.
It's weird because it's even more granular though, because it's like with Generations, it's like, okay, here's the modern stage, that's that one, and then you've got, I don't know, what, 5 challenges within that. I can't remember exactly how many challenges you get within it. But
4 or 5, yeah.
with this, it's like, okay, here's 3 acts, and then here's 5 challenges each per act. So it's like there's quite a bit there. It's quite a confusing layout at first, but I think once you're a bit more acquainted with it, it will make sense. It's one of those things where after a while I started being like, I'm just going to do all the challenges within the acts, because then I'm not going to get roadblocked. It is one of those things where Sonic Dream Team does have a problem, I guess, that a lot of the modern Sonic games have around sort of the Unleashed era and stuff like that, is there's the roadblocking of progress. You can't just go from act to act to act. In fairness, in this case, the game would be, like, I don't know, half an hour long if they didn't do this. But at least in this case, that content we're doing in between doesn't just feel like redoing the same stuff or getting extra granular with it. It at least feels like, okay, this is a slightly different spin on the act I just did. I think of all the Sonic games to roadblock progress, this one does it better than most.
At least it does, at least it roadblocks it by going, please do something within a level that you already kind of want to be in. Like, I haven't felt the thing that I felt with Superstars playing this. In Superstars, I felt like I started a level and the first thing I wanted was for the level to end. I just wanted the level to end because it meant I was closer to the game ending, which means I was closer to not playing the game anymore. I haven't felt that way with this one. Even if I don't end up completing this game, at least it doesn't make me feel like I don't want to play it, especially now that I got the controller working. The controls feel fine. I'm actually kind of glad I was forced to use touchscreen for a little bit, because I wouldn't have touched it at all if I thought I could have gotten away with it. Now that I have played with touchscreen, I'm like, okay, I can understand some of the concessions that the movement system has. Though, there was one thing that was super refreshing to me, and it was actually while on a rail. So there's a section in one of the first levels where you're on a rail, and if you don't rail switch, the rail loops. It turns around and it pulls you back the other way, and then it just loops you around until you switch the rail. And the camera actually turned to stay behind me when it looped around. And I'm so used to Sonic games when you're on a rail going, no, the camera goes the way the rail is wanting to go, and that is it. If you go backwards on the rail, screw you, buddy. You're going blind.
I think you can actually go backwards on every rail in Sonic Dream Team, and it always does that.
That's one of the things that I've been... Oh, go on, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, that is something I love about Dream Team, is it is one instance where these levels feel versatile. It doesn't feel like... there's obviously the way you're supposed to play it is go from A to B, but it also feels like you can actually go back and it won't break the level in half. Like, you don't just have to play the level as it's intended. You can actually explore if you want without buggering the entire experience up.
Yeah, I wanted to go find all the red rings, and that's something that I've said I wanted to do in things like Forces and even Frontiers. But in Frontiers, I didn't like cyberspace enough to go back to want to play them again. And in Forces, I didn't want to collect anything.
I did once we had the spin dash in cyberspace, I must admit.
I collected everything. I wanted everything.
I want to play this game with the Frontier spin dash. I want to play this game with like just the unhinged movement that Frontiers ultimately lets you have once you have the spin dash.
With that being said, though, what we have here is an instance of where they've gotten... This is kind of what, a lot of people were asking for from Sonic Frontiers, where I've been more charitable towards it. This game is undoubtedly... They've created a gameplay engine and designed the levels around it.
Yeah, and it feels...
Yeah, exactly.
It feels really good for that.
That's the thing.
It was a video game that they created and made for this purpose.
That's the thing.
Instead of just yoinking things from previous games, which is, surprisingly, when it's designed around what you're playing, it's great.
Dream
It's awesome.
Team is undoubtedly, to me, the cleaner experience than Sonic Frontiers. And I do prefer Frontiers' overall gameplay still. Because the thing is, as soon as I went in, I tested things like the turning, just the overall versatility of Sonic. And, it's pretty unfair to compare Frontiers to Dream Team on the basis that Dream Team's a mobile game, and its simplicity in its controls is one of the things it prides itself on, while Frontiers is all about having the most versatile Sonic ever. You want to boost, you can boost. You want to spin dash, you can spin dash. You want to punch things, you can punch things. But I like that better. But then there's also things like I like the turning better in Sonic Frontiers. I like having the spin dash, and I like how you can just fling yourself off of things. Spin flinging, as I call it, is probably one of my favorite things in Sonic games in general. But it's one of those things where Sonic Frontiers doesn't necessarily feel as clean as Sonic Dream Team in this case, because its level design is more designed to be a one-size-fits-all Sonic level design, effectively. And we've seen them experiment a little bit with the towers in Update 3, but even then we're still at the experimentation point. It's one of those things where, the fabled sliders conversation is bound to come up, because there might be someone who's played the base Frontiers and not touched the sliders, Frontiers feels like Dookie compared to Dream Team. And then you've got me, who's very much got it the way he wants it to be. But Dream Team, there's no sliders, and it feels good. It feels the way it's meant to feel,
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to take one of these characters from Dream Team, just take Sonic or Amy, because they're probably the ones that would be most suited to the playing field of Frontiers. Drop them exactly as they are into the Frontiers open world to see how it feels, and then drop...
it would probably be a bit more awkward, wouldn't it? Because that's another thing as well, is Knuckles, okay? Knuckles and Rouge in this game, their glide is very limp. They start dropping down after a mere second or so. But Sonic Dream Team's levels are very much designed to account for that. So it's kind of okay, but it's not something I would want from a game with any other level design, Yeah,
if you were playing Frontiers and you had the sort of fast drag down to the bottom type of glide that they had. It's so what was the last time you actually played Sonic Heroes?
Probably last year.
Okay, so the worst sin that game ever committed to me, but it not counting the making you go through Team Chaotix. That's the worst sin. But the worst movement sin that game ever committed was replacing the glide with the triangle jump. That triangle formation thing that they use for all the characters who had a glide at one point it feels awful. It has never felt good, but it is made to purpose in what is, Sonic Heroes. It makes sense for the Sonic Heroes levels, but it feels awful. I imagine that's probably the same way you feel with Rouge and Knuckles. We're this feels bad, but it feels like it works here. I don't want this to go anywhere else. Keep it here, please.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where if they made a Dream Team 2 and the level design philosophy is still the same, and I love the level design philosophy as is, so I don't really want it to change much. I don't mind if they, they want to keep the characters the exact same. There's no part of me that's this needs to change with Dream Team. Because everything is so very cohesive
Everything
and I
just
think that is
works.
something that Dream Team definitely has over Sonic Frontiers, is the cohesion of it. Like, everything is built for purpose. The levels are built for purpose. The aesthetics are built for purpose. The controls are built for purpose. I will still advocate for sliders and stuff like that, customization, freedom, to a small extent. Less now that I've played Dream Team and seen, well, you just got something cohesive here, This is the way the game's meant to be, but Dream Team does still have things like accessibility options and stuff like that. You can turn off damage and stuff. I would say, like, I'm still pro slider, but I don't think we should have sliders like jump deacceleration, for example, because why would you want that even? Just have it off,
Yeah.
I think the sliders
That
should
one
serve for things
specifically.
like you can put a cap on Sonic's top speed if you're having trouble with it, and that's all there is to it.
There is one thing that, speaking of the speed in this game, so this is another one of those Sonic games that has a problem with the boost button basically being the run button, where you have a very slow jaunt, for Sonic standards, a very slow jaunt as your main running speed, and then when you're boosting, that's your actual, oh, I'm playing a Sonic game running speed. I don't like that, and I would really like if one day we could get away from that. I'm very, very tired of boost to run Sonic. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm saying that it's not what I want in my Sonic games.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't-
too easy. You don't need to earn it.
I would say, I think it is something that is only going to benefit 3D Sonic, is having a run button effectively, because it is the number one complaint that a lot of like casual players have about Sonic, is like he moves really, really fast, and then you'll get a challenging platforming segment that, that speed doesn't really complement and stuff like that. Like, I think, like, for some of the platforming stuff that is offered in Sonic Dream Team, if you were to take, say, Unleashed Sonic, where even his base run speed is really whip fast, you'd have some problems there, but I think it's also a matter of acceleration as well, because, like, you look at, say, Adventure 1 Sonic, and pretty much every environment he's in, he controls really well. And it's partly down to the fact that he's got quite a gradual acceleration. You're not immediately moving fast. You have a little time to prep yourself and grab your bearings before he starts moving at top speed. I think maybe rather than a run button, or the boost being treated as a run button, maybe that sort of boosting speed should kind of be more the default, but rather than having a run button, you've instead got a brake, which would just slow Sonic down to a crawl, effectively. Or not down to a crawl, but down to a manageable jog. I like the idea that we've got two speed settings, one being Sonic speed, the other being something that is fit for intricate platforming that you can easily just default to if you're having a little trouble, and then maybe once you've got your confidence up, use the boost. I mean, there are things you can do with the boost and platforming in Sonic Frontiers that you could never dream of doing in, say, Sonic Unleashed and Generations, because the boost is not controllable in those games. It's purely there for, you've got a long stretch, and you'd have to be so skilled.
What's funny is there's a moment in I can't remember the desert level's name, in Unleashed on the Wii, where if you take a side path, there's an area that's right above water. There's just a series of small bridges and platforms sticking up out of the water.
Out of that.
And what the game wants you to do is it wants you to hit a boost pad, because on that dash pad, you'll just zoom through that area automatically. But if you jump, there is nothing in that game that is equipped to help you steer that jump to land anywhere. You are going in the water. And like I'm sure there's one or two people in the world who can probably make those jumps perfectly fine and easily and all the time without 50 trial and error times on their back. But yeah, you're right. There's nothing in those games, as much as I love them, that is suited to the platforming part of Sonic. Not really.
Yeah, like,
I think Dream Team kind of has both. Like, it's got the super speed and the platform. My thing about... Sorry to cut you off, by the way.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about with Dream Team and, like, all of the boost games, really, is... Like, thinking about how they must have been interpreting, like, bringing the gameplay to this new style, right? Because you're thinking, we want Sonic to go fast because that's what people want. So we've added this thing, the boost. And I've been thinking about it, like, what if we didn't have, like, what if the boost didn't hurt enemies, right? Like, they made it so it was just a speed thing?
That's Frontiers.
Yeah, that's what they did in Frontiers.
Yeah, no,
and
no,
I love that.
this isn't the end of the thought, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine from the beginning, they did not make it kill enemies, and instead, you had to either roll or slide when you were about to run into an enemy. And I'm wondering if maybe they made the boost kill enemies, and then, you know, like, I know it didn't in Frontiers, but now it does again in Dream Team. I feel like that's because that works the best for that style of gameplay. Because, like, if you have to, every time you see an enemy coming, consciously think, okay, like, I'm going 5 million miles an hour, and I need to press the circle button 40 extra times during this section because there's a bunch of robots. Either that or just have the spin dash always active. But, like, either way, then it's just the same thing as the boost, because you're plowing through enemies without doing anything, really. So I'm stuck in this place right now, where I agree with you, Suris. I think that boost speed is too much, like, you rely on it too much. Like, it is the win button, basically. You press that, and it's the press to have fun button.
Yeah.
But if the boost wasn't there, and instead we were running at top speed and had to do the thing where we had to juggle, like, or I guess in that case, if the boost wasn't there, then just pressing another button when you're about to hit a robot does make sense. But with the boost, I feel like your hand would be, like, dancing back and forth between the X and the circle button, let's say, to slide if the boost didn't do damage.
I mean...
So it's like, I can't find a common ground here, like, with the boost. Like, I feel like the boost has to be overpowered, or else what's the point of it even being there?
I mean...
So there's a legitimate way for me to answer that, and there's a really, like, condescending gamer bro way to answer that I think is
I can take
dumb
it, Suris.
Okay, cool. So you're saying you want me to press more than one button in my video game? How fucking dare you? But
that's it. I'm saying not from a player's perspective, but I'm thinking from the designer's perspective. I feel like they thought that's too much for people, so we're just gonna make it do this one thing, and it's gonna be the win button.
So
and I think that's how we got here. I think that's what it is.
I think you're probably right, because from a design perspective, the boost is, for all intents and purposes, a replacement for the spin dash. Mm-hmm. And I think playing Frontiers has solidified just how much of a replacement for the spin dash the boost has been, because when you use the spin dash, it feels like the boost again, but with added, like, a bunch of added stuff.
Yeah, it feels
torn.
different, but it's the same.
I'm torn. I think it's a very complex conversation here, because I definitely would make a distinction between... I would say that the boost in the boost games, I guess as we refer to them, is a completely different entity to what it is in Sonic Frontiers, in just pretty much every regard.
Yeah, it's a movement option now, basically.
Well, yeah, because, like,
Frontiers made it into just, like, a movement thing.
In Unleashed
and
Generations,
now just,
you'd use
that's
the
a good
boost.
point. It is just a boost.
You would use the boost at the sacrifice of your control, effectively. Like, at that point,
yeah,
you need to be confident in when you're using the boost. And that was one of the things that kind of made the boost cool, especially in Sonic Generations, was that not every level is going to let you just boost your way through. This is where I thought, you know, the whole boost to win argument was extremely misrepresentative of the boost games, was the fact that, no, you couldn't just boost to win, because there'd be lots of areas where the game would require you to be a little more conservative with it. So it's a different thing. It's doing a different thing. It's achieving a different thing, because the boost felt so exhilarating as well in Unleashed and Generations. When you got a chance to boost and you slammed it down and you was plowing through enemies, you'd see the enemies get knocked back into the distance. It was pure spectacle. And I think they introduced it beautifully with Windmill Isle Act 2 in Sonic Unleashed, in that not only is the boost blasting through enemies, you've got all this breakable scenery, such as pottery and restaurants and storefronts, that Sonic is just demolishing. It is the...
menace.
It is the power fantasy. I say it a lot, and I know it's kind of a meme, but it's the power fantasy element of those games. The boost in Sonic Frontiers is not that in the slightest.
It's the run button.
The boost in Frontiers is a means of getting the Sonic speed, but it doesn't serve as, whoa, look at him go, you know? It serves as...
Then the spin dash does that. the
Yeah,
spin dash
kinda
becomes
does.
the boost.
It's still not quite on the level of the original boost, but it's
think it's
much
better.
more like it. Like,
Yeah.
I
I think it's the best boost we've ever had.
If anything, the way that the spin dash keeps your momentum as you're using it to just fling off of shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I do like it because it's so broken. That's the thing. Like, you ever be torn on a game mechanic like that because it is obviously stupidly broken, but like that makes it fun. So like, I don't know. It's difficult. Like it's broken to the point where they had to add those new. Remember they have like the new asterisks in the cyberspace levels for being like, yeah, you used the spin dash in this one. And
I don't think it's even
like,
entirely necessary though, because
extremely overpowered.
using Sonic's skills to exploit level design has always been a part of the Sonic series. It's always been one of the core appeals. Is we've got these skills here, such as rolling, such as jumping off of a hill at just the right time, such as spin dash.
I agree, and that's one of the reasons I like Sonic Adventure so much, because you can like spin dash jump off things, and it's funny enough the exact same thing we're talking about for Frontiers. But in Frontiers, in Sonic Adventure, it feels like that was something they were aware of, right, when they
Yeah.
made the game. And it all comes
I
back
kind of
to it
agree.
again, where Frontiers added it later, so when I fling off of stuff into the stratosphere, I'm looking at it like, oh, look, there's the end of the game world. Because they
Yeah,
didn't
like,
accommodate for this.
There's been times
You know, like, it feels
where-
good, but it feels bad.
there's been times where it's like, especially in the 2D cyberspace stages as well, using the spin dash, you might spin dash off of a ramp, and then you hit the boundary, the top boundary of the level, and you see him just freeze up there, and it's like, yeah, I wasn't meant to do that, was I?
Sonic 06 ass moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we couldn't have a boundary break for that, but you know, it's an interesting one. I think, you know, that skill, the spin dash, does more good than bad. It's just the consistency of it. Like, it's a little too vertical in 2D stages, and then there are times when it will fling you off of stuff, but then there's a rare instance where Sonic will still magnetize to the edge, which makes it just a little unpredictable. I think, you know, if you would ask me what's the number one thing that they need for Sonic in a Frontiers sequel, is just for it to be a little more predictable. Something I can completely trust in, so that I know that if I spin dash off of a hill, I know exactly what's going to happen, as opposed to, oh, look how far I flung, versus, oh, he magnetized, and now I'm dead.
Yeah,
But,
the magnetization was a thing that I remember when Frontiers was first, like, it was about to come out, how much footage people were pointing out the magnetization
Yes.
of the feet to everything, and it helps that we didn't spend as much time in the cyberspace stages eventually, because that was a sticking point for a while.
I get it. Sticking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back to kind of the boost thing, like, why I think it's a completely different thing as well, though, is, like, you know, it doesn't have the same sacrifices either. Like, it was mind-blowing to me that you could be boosting in Sonic Frontiers and you could still make a perfect little circle with your Psylube. That, I thought, was absolutely beautiful. Like, I got kind of emotional the first time I ran around in a circle while boosting, which sounds ridiculous, but it's similar to how I felt when I smacked myself into a floor in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and died. I was like, oh, now we're talking, buddy. Like, because as far as I saw it, I was like, you've got it unlocked now. You've made Sonic turn good. That means you could do anything. The world's your oyster at this point. But there's also just, like, after Sonic Forces, a big thinking point for me was player agency. You know, just how many player inputs it would take to pull off certain things. Because after Sonic Forces, the whole boost to win thing had kind of become flesh. I'd always thought it was a stupid argument, but as of Sonic Forces, the boost to win accusations, they weren't getting past them. So when I saw that, it's like, okay, the boost is still here, but now it can't fucking destroy shit. Now I actually have to jump and then homing attack it. I was like, good. Now I have to do more shit. That's good. So if you ask me generally what kind of boost I prefer between the destructive power fantasy boost of Sonic Unleashed versus the go fast button of Sonic Frontiers, I must admit I'm gravitating more towards the go fast button of Frontiers. Which is baffling to me when we come over to Sonic Dream Team, because with Sonic Dream Team, we don't quite have the control sacrifice when it comes to the boost. He's still pretty controllable, and he's not ridiculously fast either when he's boosting. He's just... It's kind of how you'd expect Sonic to be, really. But then it's destructive as well. It's kind of like, I feel like it didn't need to be, you know?
No, I feel like in Dream Team... Okay, I'm going to try and explain to you how I feel about controls in games that I like in the best possible way that I can. But like, just know that in my head, I just play game and I go, ooh, I like that. But like, the reason that I like it so much, it's almost like when I can understand a game properly, right? Like when I can really get in tune with a game's controls, something like Mario 64 or Sonic Adventure, stuff like that. I know exactly how the character's gonna move when I move the control stick.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's almost like I've activated mind meld mode.
You
and
are
I can just do shit.
synchronized. You are the
I am
Sonic.
synchronized up. I am synced up. And that's a good feeling. And in Dream Team, when I'm like weaving through these levels, and like you said, it's like there's no sacrifice with the boost anymore. Like it just feels good. You turn well, everything. Suris, I'm sorry I'm gonna say this, but I don't want to press more buttons when I'm running through those levels. Like that game specifically, it's a mobile game, so it makes sense they don't have as many buttons, and it makes sense the boost kills things. Because if you had to have another button to press where you have to stop
kills
boosting,
things, Sonic.
yeah, and then like, and then homing attack and stop and homing attack, it would completely ruin the pace of it for me. And I think every single time trial thing would be awful. And I think in this case, it doesn't feel like a power fantasy. It feels more like a movement fantasy game.
I
to
mean,
me.
Okay.
it's,
And this game,
Go on.
sorry, like because of the boost, it makes so many things possible in ways that other boost games weren't. Like, I've done a lot of boost jumping off of things in this game just to see what you can get away with.
Oh, that's cool, isn't it?
Especially with flying characters. You boost jump into flying, and you don't fly for very long, but you could skip a lot of stuff, and it's cool as shit. And I think it just works better that way. I think, like, this kind of game can exist alongside something like Frontiers, definitely. Like, we can say, hey, the boost doesn't have to be the same thing every time, because, you know, all of a sudden, all of the characters have the boost in both of these games. So we could just say that this is a thing that people do. This is just a fast thing they do, like you were saying. It's just going to be a
This is how we
movement
portray
option.
them being fast, effectively.
Yeah, but in that case, completely separate these two gameplay styles. Don't give me the little levels of Dream Team or Cyberspace in a big 3D Sonic game. Just make two 3D Sonic games. One where the boost carves through things, because when I'm carving through those levels, feels like butter. It's like perfect. You're just kind of like, I can... Or like a big snowbank in a Tom and Jerry cartoon where they like plow directly through it, but only leaving like just their silhouette. You know, like it feels like I am perfectly in tune with going through these stages as it is. But then, just also experiment with other 3D movement in a different game. Like, they don't need to be exactly the same. We don't even need them to share elements. Hell, they could just let Hardlight make those games from now on. And Sonic Team focus completely on making the open world, open zone stuff better. And
Suris.
I've gotten so far away from what I was starting to talk about, I think.
Suris.
But
What's up?
I get heated. I get passionate about these
think,
things because I'm a dork.
I think we made a damn good call getting this little sucker on the show.
I think we did too.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
I'm okay with that.
That's
Thanks.
what this is all about.
Thank you.
You have opinions about Sonic. It's good.
Yeah, but the Tom and Jerry allegory was the point where I was like, oh man, he's speaking to me. I mean, listen, like, I 100% agree with like 99% of that. Like,
Agree with me more. It makes me feel good.
No, listen, fuck! I say things like listen and stuff to pad out the time between my thought and my speech, and it just
Look,
sounds
hater.
rude, and I need a different word for that.
Look, I've heard worse ways of doing it. Trust me.
Look here, look, listen. I think no, I agree. I agree basically. Like I think Sonic Dream Team, the biggest, like, most amazingest thing that I can say about those controls is I'm so tired. Is that they are so predictable. Like apart from like when you're getting.
Are you
to
saying
know
it
them,
controls like a dream?
Yeah, I'm saying it
It
controls.
really does.
Like
I was trying not to say it, but
yeah.
It's a dream come true.
It's buttery. It's really buttery. Like the
Buttery
turning.
smooth.
The turning isn't as beautiful as it is in Frontiers, but it's snappy and it's fit for its purpose and stuff like that. Like I am so close to, like, even if it's not my preference is always going to be things like spin dash. I would say for everything it's setting out to do, Dream Team's controls are almost perfect. The only reason why I say almost perfect is because I just wish the stomp were in there, because it would actually come in handy at like so many occasions.
I actually felt
I agree.
as I was playing through the levels I was playing through, there was a bunch of times where I felt like, I kind of wish I could just stop my movement in midair.
Also missed the air boost a little bit, but I feel like the stomp is like a really good addition. That would make it even better.
The air dash was a decent substitute for the air boost, though. Like,
yeah, no, it was. That's why I don't miss it as much.
Just as the air boost was a good substitute for the air dash. I think the air boost is great, though, and it's especially in Sonic Frontiers. Like, the air boost is a lot of fun. Yeah. Sorry, I'm super tired. I've been up, like, since super early, and I was in France this morning, and now I'm in England, for those who don't know.
Fully
I don't blame you for being tired, dude. Travel is, like, exhausting.
So my brain is just, like, zero. But,
You've been doing good, don't worry.
Thanks, man. I think, yeah, Dream Team, like, we've only really talked about the controls as well. But, like, I think, the level design...
That's the most important part for me, honestly.
I mean, yeah, like, how Sonic controls and how it coincides with the level design. And obviously, we've mentioned that it coincides really well with the level design. But so you can pretty much take from that the level design is good. But I love the level design in Sonic Dream Team. Like, as far as linear Sonic games go, and it's hard to even necessarily call it linear, but it is an A to B Sonic game at the end of the day. This is some of the best overall level design that we've ever had, I would say. I don't know if that's too much of a stretch, but I'd probably say it with some conviction. It's like some of the best since Generations. I mean, I say that like there aren't some original cyberspace stages in Frontiers that made me go, wow. You know, like the one in the city at the Oranas Island, you know, there's some great levels there. But just everything here is so beautifully expansive that it's almost like no two playthroughs are the same, because there's so many different routes that you can take. Pair that with the fact that in the main acts, you can play them as any character, and they've got routes to accommodate for those characters. They feel so vast, and there's just so many opportunities to just make this your own, and I adore that about Sonic Dream Team. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I've got to say about that, really, is like alternate paths. They're wide and open. You've got lots of little areas as well where you can just kind of get your bearings too. Like, it's not all constant wall-to-wall challenge and stuff. And even down to, like, the Nightmare Maze as well is such a different level design philosophy to the rest of the game, yet it still coincides so well with the gameplay, you know?
Yeah. No, I exactly agree. Like, my thing about the levels being designed well, I really love... This is really weird, because I both really like how they look, and also feel like they look more like levels than like a little world. But like, I guess it's a dream world. Yeah, yeah. So like,
I'm gonna be honest.
It looks like a real game, like this time.
Yeah, it looks like there's three types of Sonic world that we've had for our levels. The World 1 has been the Adventure 1, Adventure 2 style, where all of the levels feel very lived in. They feel very much like you're in an area, you're in a place. Which is like when I'm running around the Space Colony arc, I feel like I'm in a place that could have once been a research facility. It's just gotten a little farked up. I think the only time I didn't feel like that was on Radical Highway, where it was like man, I feel like if cars drove here, they'd die.
Maybe cars can just move at that speed. Who knows? Like,
I mean, in Sonic
they have those
X,
big
they
highways
can.
and tails races.
I mean,
on,
who's
so,
building
cars are
these
crazy.
though? Like, at what point are like the architects like, let's put a loop in there? Why?
But then that's one end of the extreme, and that's the extreme that I like. Then there's the end of the extreme I don't like, which is the Unity asset dump, which is what we had in Frontiers, right?
I mean, that's it. There's another reason why I always say, oh, the next one will probably be better when it comes to Frontiers, is I can't really think of another Sonic game that's looked like a Unity asset dump.
Yeah, but then there's Dream Team, which fits firmly in the middle of like these places look like game levels,
But it's
and
also
that's
a dream.
and that's okay. But see, the thing is that if I've never had to apply that same thought process to say Mario, right? Because Mario levels can look like levels and look like places, and they both feel perfectly fine. Like there's Mario 64 and Galaxy, and that looks like levels, and then there's Mario Sunshine, and those levels look like places. And
Mario Odyssey and stuff.
they both feel fine.
I want to write to my local railway and just ask them to put some loop-de-loops on the train tracks.
I mean, they go fast enough for it. They
It'd
could
be
probably
cool,
do it.
right? Like, but yeah. Speaking of like the
The Hot
aesthetics,
Wheels
then,
track.
because I know that like in the earlier days of talking about this game, I kind of mentioned like it looks kind of like a slight evolution of Sonic Lost World in terms of its appearance. And truth be told, I don't.
It does feel very Lost Worldy.
Well, I don't
Dude,
stand
thank
by
God
it now.
not everything's a tube.
Like,
You know that? Wait,
I'll-
hold on. You know that last part of Sonic Dream Team's. All right, Suris, you won't know it, but like the last, like one of the last parts of the final boss when Amy's running on like the cylinder, and I was like,
brother.
ew,
No,
Lost
because
World,
it
get outta here.
was okay. It was the.
Oh,
Oh no, we
that
can't-
was the only
Ooh,
time.
we can't talk about it.
I was like, okay. But then, but like in my head, I was like, oh god, oh no.
No, but I know what you're
Don't
talking
do it.
about, and it was awesome though. It was awesome. The actual thing is awesome.
It was cool in that.
No, because
In
it's the
that
same
moment,
thing.
I was
It's
like,
the same
yeah.
thing that Knuckles is climbing, and you know what that is, right?
Yeah, it's Eggman's big old brain.
Suris,
His brain.
Suris, is
Yeah?
he hasn't got there. So I'm trying to do this in
It's
the most.
okay.
I'm-
It's okay. It's
I'm
all
trying
right.
I'm trying to be spoiler free, but they just.
I did send a thing in the back rooms though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my time is. I've pushed a little bit due to things I'll mention when we're not on stream, but
Of course.
I'm about at my wrap up stage.
Oh, in that case, we can talk
Gotcha.
about it once Suris is out of here. Then,
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nope.
Suris, do have fun at the. What's he doing, Dylan?
Suris is going to the zoo.
Alrighty.
That's the best you got for my itinerary.
I
Okay.
you came up with
Sure.
the
It's
idea.
fucking awesome,
like-
Suris. What do you mean?
You
I-
came
you
up
know
with this
what?
idea like 3 weeks ago, Dylan, and that's all you got.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't think about it till now.
okay,
You had
I'll just
3
be.
weeks.
You know what? Because you wasted it, I'm gonna go ahead and drop and rip off the Iron Curtain for everybody. So I mentioned to Pup, hey, on Fridays I have a tournament that I go to, and that's why I'm not able to be here super late. And since we had to push the show back, I was like, hey, that means I have to leave earlier than normal, as opposed to well after we end the show. And then Garrulus said, that's fine. You just have to let me make up the reason why you're leaving. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is going to be great. Nah, you've lost those privileges.
Suris, I said that 3 weeks ago, and I didn't
Yeah?
think
I
about
tell
it
you what,
ever
Suris,
again.
you remember when I said that
Ever.
I thought, we made the right call getting him on the show? I'm
Yeah, I think you made the
No,
wrong
don't
call.
take it away from
Yeah,
me.
no, like,
It felt so good.
the biggest mistake of 2023, aside from alienating
Oh, no.
Nick off of the show, was definitely
It's-
getting Dylan,
Only
getting
been 5
Dylan on
days.
instead.
But the zoo
Dylan.
is so fun.
How dare? How dare?
Oh, it's got animals. It got the big baboon.
Oh, so
All right.
it is true. If you do go in January, the animals are all fat as well from where they've been like conserving food. It's brilliant.
All right,
the bears
I'll
are
have
all
to,
like, "Ugh."
Let him
I'll
go.
have to see you guys next week.
See you
Alright,
next
bye,
week,
Suris.
dude.
See ya.
I didn't make a
I
skeleton.
thought it was
for
good.
That
thought it was great.
It's not your best.
I mean, it wasn't my best, but
Look,
I'll do better.
dude, I got a lot of love for you, but bluntly, that was meeting material. That was a
Oh,
disciplinary action kind of thing right there. So we'll
not
be,
again.
we'll be speaking. But yet, no, right? Cylindrical platforms, but their Eggman's arms is so cool. So, right. The reason why I don't stand by it looking like Sonic Lost World anymore is because the reason I said it looked like Sonic Lost World was because everything looked like it was made of plastic, but it's in the first level because it's pool toy themed, and I think that's brilliant.
I really like the fact that it's a beach level with a bunch of floaties and stuff. That's my favorite part.
I still wish
it's a
there
very
was more...
nice location.
I still wish there was more to say that this is an Eggman beach, though.
Yeah, they could be like Eggman sand sculptures everywhere. That could have been neat.
Yeah, or Eggman themed pool toys and stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, like the boss being a pool toy is again genius. Like, there's
the giant enemy crab.
There's so much, yeah, there's so much ingenuity in the cohesion of these levels, though. Like the fact that the first level is pool toy themed and the boss is literally a pool toy is
pool toy.
So smart.
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping.
I also
we'll
like that each character has different dialogue for like that first little cutscene before the boss. Like that's kind of neat that you can go back and see the other characters' thing. Ew, a giant enemy crab.
What's so gross about an inflatable crab, though?
It's got a big gross mustache.
Maybe.
But the thing I was saying earlier about stages looking like places, like it's funny because Dream Team's stages do very much feel like levels, but also they feel more like places than anything from Sonic. And I know cyberspace is not a place, but you know what I mean. Like those levels just feel like, hey, I'm running through the arcade zone.
Yeah, cyberspace is like it doesn't feel like a lived-in Green Hill. It's like a Green Hill themed racetrack, effectively.
And it's kind of like not. I guess you're not supposed to feel like it's lived in, but also like it'd be kind of neat if it, like, you know, in Forces Overclocked, where like we were just talking about this, how like you start the first level, and you're like it's like you're immediately in a place.
Yeah,
like this is a real world that you're in.
That was the thing I said in my review of Overclocked. That the best thing that game does is when it makes the transition from a very lived-in looking Starlight Zone with signposts and stuff everywhere through to Green Hill, giving Sonic's World a sense of geography and context in a way that we haven't really actually seen in any of the official products. I was like, it's a fan mod like any other. It's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses, but when I saw that, I was like, holy fuck, more of that I beg. Because that is the thing with so many Sonic stages, is they've got a singular theming to them. You've got Green Hill, you get Green Hill. But
Forces, oh, it's so funny because in Forces they present the entire world like a real world, like you are selecting locations on a map, and it feels the fakest that it's ever been. It is basically a level select.
Yeah,
like that's all it is.
I mean, did you notice that in the second of the Mystical Forest levels or Mystic Jungle levels, there's a big neon sign up that says "Welcome to the Jungle" as you're entering the stage. I was like, that is awesome. That is just bloody awesome.
More of that, please.
But before we talk too much about Overclocked, so yeah, the level aesthetics, like pool toys, I thought was a decent opener and everything. I do think the Nightmare Maze, as cool as it does look, it does also look awfully Mario to me.
Yeah, that looks like a Mario Galaxy level. I can't tell you which one it is off the
There
top
was
of
even
my head,
a level in Wonder that had me going, oh, that looks like a Nightmare Maze from Dream Team. And I think I was also thinking of the garden-themed level from Super Mario Odyssey. You know, that's the main thing I immediately think of. Is because obviously Super Mario Odyssey was my first Mario game, so that's kind of the thing that taught me kind of what Mario aesthetics do look like. But yeah, I would like Sonic to not do too much that looks like it could be in a Mario game, but at the same time, as the acts go on, the aesthetic evolves, and that's another thing I really praise about Sonic Dream Team, is with the exception of Pool Toy Hill, like, all of the levels have an evolution from act to act as they become more nightmarish, more distorted, more fragmented, and more purple as well. And it's something Gilly brought up when he said about his first-hand experience with it before the game was out. He was saying, like, oh, I was surprised how it started off as, like, was an orange level, and now it's purple, you know? Like, it
was a good impression.
It wasn't. You don't have to say it was a good impression, it wasn't.
It's yes and Pup. That's how it works.
No. Mm-mm. Best looking level, in my opinion, is Ego City, especially when it becomes a bit more nightmare-y as well. Like, that shit looked awesome. Like, the visual highlight of the game was the final boss as well, in my opinion.
I mentioned to Pup before we started, I was playing Dream Team just so I had it fresh in my mind for this. And I'm gonna tell you, when I replay games, I typically like to play the very beginning a lot because it's the most, like I'm like, back on a new adventure. But I went right to Ego City. And I was playing those levels over and over again because those are so much fun, and I love how they look. And
Also,
they even do like the Sonic Colors Eggman announcements in the
Yes.
background, and it's like, yes. It's like,
also,
you get
I
it.
noticed he says, rolling into a ball is strictly prohibited. I was like, I mean, it just is anyway in this game.
Yeah, I can't do that. Thanks.
I was like Takeshi Iizuka before Sonic Frontiers. Also, like, it felt like I was playing the opening credits of Futurama, and that's cool. Even down to the tubes, the people tubes, that was
It
awesome.
does have the tubes, yeah.
But, like,
I didn't think of that. That's funny.
the final boss, which it's not a fucking boss. Like, I'm super
It's an
fortunate
activity.
that it isn't a boss because I released my 2023 Sonic final boss ranking before Dream Team was out, and I'm super lucky that Dream Team doesn't really have a final boss. But it was an awesome set piece to end the game on. But I think one piece of just design ingenuity for me was on those bits where you're Knuckles and you're climbing the giant nightmare Eggman arms. The route to get you to the spring is the zipper.
It's a real place, see?
It's so smart, factoring in an element of Dr. Robotnik's design that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily think about, but now it's the path to the spring. That's so cool.
Yeah, they did wonders with that game. I think
yeah.
Dream Team they gotta throw money at them guys to just do it again.
I mean,
on
Dream
consoles.
Team is
Do it.
like, if I were kind of describe it, it's like imagine a Sonic game, but with the quality of a Mario game, and you've got Sonic Dream
kinda
Team.
is.
But like that's the thing is, it sounds like a joke, but like it kind of just is. And I said on Twitter, and I don't know if maybe to the same extent, but like I do think that if this were a console release, if it were downloadable for $15 and it was an Apple exclusive and stuff like that, this would be to modern Sonic what Mania was to classic Sonic. Where it's like,
I'd fucking pay 20 for this. I'd pay 20 for
I'd
it
pay
on
20 for it.
console, whatever, PC.
yeah, definitely. It's kind of sparse for content, but what's there is very replayable. And yeah, it's one of those things where as well as that, like, if this were the game to release after Sonic Generations, I'd look at this and be like, yeah, there is a progression here, like.
Yeah, because there certainly isn't a progression from Generations to Forces. There is a regression.
Or Lost World, which is just we wrote an idea on an egg and threw it at the wall, and when it splattered, we decided that will be our game.
I'm so sad because Lost World, like, it does appeal to me in certain ways, but other way, like the ways that are important to me, are just bad. Like it sucks.
I think its aesthetic is everything Sonic should never be, and I think the same of like the way the Deadly Six look. I think writing-wise, it's everything Sonic should never be, and I think gameplay-wise, there's a lot of things that Sonic should just not be in there, but as a platformer, it's still pretty well made.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I like certain things, but does not enough. But Dream Team's the opposite. Like I like so many things.
It also helped that the
I like
first time I
everything.
ever played Sonic Lost World was after I'd finished the video game Knack for the PlayStation 4. And
You're always talking about that game. You talk about it every time we talk.
no, I don't. That's not true.
You do.
That is not
You
true.
actually do.
That is not true.
No, I'm not. I'm not gaslighting you
You are
guys.
gaslighting me, bro.
This is like you have literally mentioned Knack more than anyone I've ever known.
I didn't like it.
I know, so that's why you keep talking about it.
It's
I don't
not very
understand.
good, is it? Like, do you think it's good? Are you trying to defend
haven't
Knack right
played it.
now?
No, I haven't played. I'm just saying. I've heard you say you've brought up specifically Knack for the PS4 like most times I've talked to
Let
you.
me
I think.
explain it. All right, let me explain. Is I thought it was going to be a return to the 3D platformer genre, and it just wasn't that. And it was bad, and it wasn't fun. And I hated it. And then I played Lost World, and I was like, yeah, this is what a 3D platformer should be. that's the process of the first time I played Sonic Lost World. I was like, that's more fucking like it. And it's all thanks to Knack.
Sorry, Knack, you don't got what it takes.
Would you say that Sonic Dream Team is better than Sonic Superstars?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, I know it's not even as long as Superstars, even though Superstars isn't that long to begin with. But, like, I would still... Like, Superstars is not worth $60. If I had paid $60 for Dream Team, I would have thought it was too short. But I would have at least walked away being like, but it was a damn fun time.
It might have put things in a slightly different perspective, but, like, yeah, I can kind of agree. It's like, it's one of those things where once the next payday's in and I forget I even spent the money in the first place, like, I'd be kind of...
Yeah, I'd be like, did this provide me $60 worth of fun? Yes. I would say absolutely. I just wish it was longer, and I'd probably just keep playing. I'd probably replay it a couple times.
That's the thing that also sucks about it being an Apple Arcade thing, though, is, like, I'm gonna end up keeping an Apple Arcade subscription just to play it from time to time, and then by then I will have paid more than $60 for the game, effectively.
I think after today, I actually just got the bill for the second month of it, and I was like, oh, shit. So I'm going into it after this, and I'm gonna cancel it, but I can just reactivate it when I want to play it. I mean, $7 to play this game every so often.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks.
It's kind of like an arcade machine,
I also,
in a way, you know? Put a coin in.
Like, I like the game. I like it enough to do that, you know?
I mean, also, I think I found a bit of an omen here. A Sonic omen, if you like.
Sonic omen,
is that, in the third boss, I think it's called, like, the Nightmare Guardian or something, there's that bit where the thing looks you in the fucking eye. Also, that thing is an eldritch horror, and I love it. But there's a point where he looks you in the eye, and he snaps his fingers. That is the Nintendo Switch startup sound effect, and I defy anyone that says otherwise. All right? It's a specific click. You can just say, oh, it's a click. No, that is the Switch sound effect.
Do you want me to replay it right now so I can, like, confirm this?
Sure, but, like, why?
Because I need to know. Maybe it's an omen. Maybe it's a real omen.
Okay.
A Sonic omen.
Okay, but, like, we still talk during, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I would say...
I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna do that. It's not hooked up.
Would you say there's a weak link?
I don't know. Which Zelda game are we playing?
Bitch.
I'd say the weakest link is probably,
Go on.
I don't know if any of them are weak. I think the Zelda 1 Link, maybe. Maybe he sucks a little.
I mean, I found Link to be quite fragile in Breath of the Wild when you first start up the game, but... Bitch.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a weak link of Sonic Dream Team? Like, what would you say is kind of like the weak link of that game?
I guess I got bored and sort of a little annoyed in Nightmare Maze occasionally. I'd say that's probably my least favorite part of it. I just don't like some of those, like... I think, like, the go find the 5 pieces of the progression gate thing is, like... It's fine in most of the levels, but in that one, I was like, where the fuck have I been already? Like, the whole stage looks the same.
It's cool that it's got the gravity gimmicks and they factor that in, but, like, at the same time, those gravity gimmicks are like, where is it?
Yeah. Like, I got lost and I was like, I don't want to be here. But that was the only time, really. I was like, I don't like a couple of those levels. Everything else is fine.
I think, everyone's talked about, like, Rouge's voice actor. I'm not gonna bring politics into it, because I don't want to fucking talk about that shit. But that's apparently been a bone of contention. But I'm gonna say this, like, be it the voice actor or the direction, if the character's voice is cracking while they are speaking, it ain't good. You know? Like, I noticed several occasions where Rouge's voice would this cracky squeak to it, and I was like, yeah, nah, that doesn't sound natural. Why you sound more like Mickey Mouse than Minnie Mouse than Amy does? You know, that Rouge is supposed to kind of sound a little tougher, you know? Like, didn't like it. Which is funny, because this actor's performance in Generations was really good. Pretty unrecognizable compared to this. My roommate was like, why don't they just get the one from Generations back? I was like, that is the one from Generations.
Yeah, and Forces too. Didn't she have lines in Forces?
Yeah, she had a few, and she was not as good as she was in Generations or Free Riders.
Didn't
But
she have like 2 lines in Generations, right? Or 1, maybe 3.
yeah, something like
I guess
that.
if you only have 3 lines, you really knock it out of the park. But if you have, I mean, everything in Sonic Forces was bad. So
I don't know if it's the VA's fault or if it's down to direction, and I think it's kind of gotta be down to direction to some extent, right? Because like,
some
why would
direction, I would say, probably.
why would you
'Cause
drastically?
that's why Roger's different in Frontiers. You know, like that's
I'll say
they
this:
tell him, hey, no, deeper.
I'm happy that they kept Roger in more the Frontiers cadence for this because I like deeper voice Sonic.
I think he sounded fine in Frontiers. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I just feel like it was a little inconsistent here and there, but also with Dream Team, yeah, like I didn't like a lot of the sound clips they chose for most of the things. Like I don't know, like
Every character.
Sonic was fine, but like everyone else had these weird sound clips. Like they either went on too long or they just sounded strange. Like
It's
they didn't
interesting
sound
'cause
like they were what they were supposed to be for.
I feel like we've nailed Sonic, but it's like even when we go over to like Frontiers, like why does Amy go la la whenever she jumps? It's like I think we still need to figure out some good grunts for Amy.
If they didn't. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like some of like the weird. They sound too happy in Sonic 3.
I've actually noticed that like on like
They sound too happy and excited for what's happening because like in the cutscenes they're all really serious about it for the most part.
Well, I mean, there was one instance. I think it's Amy's first line of dialogue, and this is absolutely no disrespect for Cindy Robinson because I think she, like Roger and Colleen O'Shaughnessy, has got the part down to a fine art at this point. Like she gets the
Yeah, I
assignment.
like her as Amy. She's really good.
Yeah, for this new version of Amy, I think she's perfect. But her first line where she greets Sonic is like Sonic. I'm like, what are you laughing about? Like, what's so fucking funny?
She laughs when you click the button and stuff. She
Yeah.
goes, and it goes on for like 4 more chuckles
She's
than you
just
think it
laughing
would.
her ass off in this game. Like, what do you find
like,
so funny?
I hope that means that they had fun when they were recording this.
Yeah.
But it sounds really weird in game. Like
They
it's like a cake they should have cut out.
They were just like,
like-
Colleen, not Colleen, Cindy Robinson's performance is really good, but we feel like she needs to sound a little happy. Can you get the guy with a feather in there to just tickle her while she reads her lines? Like, it's kind of how it
I'll do that.
sounds.
It's just, it's so funny to me that I'm like,
I'm okay
it just
with
hit
it.
me now that I think they sound too happy.
I'm okay.
It sounds
It's
like
honestly, it's
way
adorable, but like, it's. Oh, dude, I just thought my mind went somewhere. When it's the final boss, when I did my first playthrough.
Wait, so sorry, wait. Demetrius has been saying funny shit in the chat the whole stream, but like I like have Amy get hit by a sack of nickels for her grunts next time. Can you imagine just like the oof?
Yeah, no, I remember what I was going to say now. It was in the final boss against Nightmare Robotnik. It was the music timing. I had my capture card going, I was recording this footage, and the music timed beautifully, because as soon as Cream, like, gathered her bearings and jumped off the edge ready to go into the fight, the rock guitar riff started coming in. I was like, that is perfect. And I've never been able to get it to do it again, and the footage's audio didn't record. And I'm just
Oh no! So now you can just do it with the song yourself. You can just put it like that. But like,
it ain't the same, man.
no, I was
It
just
ain't
thinking
the same.
about that specific moment where Cream steps up to do her part in the final thing. I was thinking about it because I played that section right before this, and it's funny to me that they highlight Knuckles so often in this game. Like I feel like someone, or maybe the Hardlike team, really likes Knuckles because they have like a couple scenes in the thing where people are like praising him or calling him cool, and
Well,
REM
I
calls
think
him
that's partly
handsome.
down to the fact that like REM kind of relates to Knuckles and that she's a guardian and Knuckles is a guardian. So I think
It's just funny to me because
She
even
calls
in
him
that
handsome.
part, like Cream, I thought Cream was going to, because she's been on like this little arc for the game where she's like, I need to help, I need to do something. I thought Cream and Cheese were gonna whoop those robots and Knuckles was gonna land and go, good job, Cream. But Knuckles lands and he beats them up because Cream is cowering, and it's like they once again go, yeah, here's Knuckles, he's the fucking coolest. And I'm wondering if that was intentional. I wonder if
But
they
I
were
mean, to
like,
be
we
fair,
want to
though,
make I'm not saying
he's
not
also
a good thing. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm
he's
just
also
pointing
the
it out.
first person though to tell Cream fucking go kick some ass, you know? And I really like that.
Yeah.
Because like before that,
That's
like,
true.
you know, Amy and Sonic are like, no, don't go into battle. Knuckles is like, go knock him dead and make Ariam proud. I was like, this is actually a really good characterization for Knuckles.
I like him a lot in that game. Like, I think they wrote him really well. Like, not to be like, you know, oh wow, isn't he handsome? And then you pan over and he's like eating paint, like they would in like the modern games.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing fine. Like, he's called handsome. He doesn't hear it, but he still acts like a cool gentleman. And like, I
He's just
appreciate that.
eating
I think the
paint.
neat dude. You know what I mean? Like in the
I know,
Pontaf
I know.
and Graph stuff, like it'd pan to Knuckles, and he'd just be like,
I'm just a
He'd be
simple
eating a
country
candy bar.
echidna. I don't even know which end of the toothbrush goes in your nose.
he's painting a candy bar and eating the fence. You know, like
I'm thinking of Boom Knuckles, and that is the thing, is Boom Knuckles is kind of so like the opposite end of the spectrum, and I know that he's everything people don't want Knuckles to be, but they did it well though, didn't they? Like as far as
he's funny.
as far
I
as
do-
dumb fuck Knuckles goes, they did it goddamn well.
In some of the games, but in some games like Lost World or Forces, like he's just a shithead.
Oh, he sucks.
You know, like he's just a
Yeah.
dumbass shitlord, and he gets people killed, and nobody talks about it.
Operation Big
In
Wave.
Boom, he's very funny. Like I do like him in Boom. That wasn't what I meant before. Like
No, of course.
there's a way to make a dumb character who is good and funny.
Knuckles
and
should
wholesome
be in
even.
fucking jail after Operation Big Wave. Like, what was that? Imagine if a war general is just like, okay, we're in battle. Just fucking send everyone in. Do a big charge.
Exactly. Dude, I like how in Sonic Forces Overclocked they mentioned Big Wave.
Yeah, I was like, dude,
They're like,
you,
"Oh, it's
you
gonna
should
be
be
Big Wave
crying
too."
whenever that's mentioned. I think you should have had like a traumatic breakdown at the mention of Operation Big. Like, Silver
I
treats
like
it
how
as
he
like,
falters. He goes, yes, I guess, because I thought of it in 2 minutes.
yeah, you're going to fucking prison, buddy. You're a war criminal. But like, Silver mentions it in Overclocked as though it's like the time Knuckles pissed his pants in the maths exam. Like, this is a fucking war crime. Dude, though, like, I still think one of the coolest Knuckles moments ever is when I was, like, replaying through Final Horizon. It's the bit when Knuckles gets the cyber corruption, and he just fucking laughs it off. I was just like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, he's
I was
so
like,
cool.
that is Giga Chad shit right there.
His tails like falls over, and he's like, "Oh!" And Knuckles like, "Yeah, you ain't shit."
Yeah, I love it. I gotta admit, it was kind of hot. You know, like, if you hear him laugh at death and don't get a bit of a boner, you might be gay, dude. Like,
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
yeah, I like Sonic.
The Operation Big Wave did work on you.
Operation Big Wave. I'm just thinking of Big the Cat and Wave the Swallow as well.
Operation Big Wave, he just drops them into the nuclear battlefield.
You know what's funny, though, is in the episode Robots from the Sky from Sonic Boom, there is a point where Knuckles does have to become kind of a general in, like, a war situation when all the Q-bots are invading. And he legitimately does a better job than Knuckles did in Forces.
He does a better job.
He sure as hell didn't do an Operation Big Wave, that's for sure. Like,
That kicks ass. What is Q-bot? Is Q-bot pose a threat?
well, there's like an army of, like, corrupted Q-bots that are being controlled by Hypnobot.
Oh, okay. Alright,
And
that
Q-bot
does sound
can
like a threat.
pose a threat if he's got, you know, the right programming.
Do you think Orbot and Q-bot should come back now that we have Sage?
Yes. I would like to see their dynamic with Sage. And I would like to see Sage have kind of a slightly more lesser you shitheads mentality that Robotnik has with them. More like they're her brothers and she loves them.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking with them, because I think like her and Metal Sonic and her and Orbot and Q-bot could be a very fun little unit. I was just thinking about it because I was like, I wonder if people hate Orbot and Q-bot, because I do like them. Like, I feel like their writing was always really fun, whether it be the cartoon or the games.
Especially in Boom.
And-
Like, they have the potential to be
Yeah.
fun. Like, look at them in Sonic Forces, though, and they suck. It's just like, I don't have any legs, neither do you, dude. Don't mention it, dude. It's
forgot
like,
they were in the
what
game.
is even the fucking joke there? There's no joke. The joke is he says "dude." What the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you
I do.
guys
Okay,
50
Chip
fucking-
Fan saying that they want Sage and Metal Sonic. That's the more important interaction
The
that
biggest
I want.
thing
'cause
I
I
wanna
think
see-
Sage.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say I think Sage probably likes Sonic now. Like she thinks he's cool. So like having her hang out with Metal Sonic could be like. Not like it could almost like start his little redemption or something. Like 'cause she could be like, wait, no, Sonic is really cool, and Metal Sonic could be like, no, he's stupid. And they have to kind of like go back and forth about that. He is a little stupid.
You know what I
He's
want to see
right.
more than anything else, though, for Sage?
Hmm.
I want her to meet Shadow, and for the two to develop a bit of a kingship. As in, like, Shadow kind of sees her in a similar way to Maria. He's quite protective over her. She's a little girl. She's innocent in all this, despite, what Dr. Eggman gets up to. But also they kind of relate as well in that, like, they're both artificial creations, created both by a Robotnik and by an alien force. Like, Shadow is obviously the work of Gerald Robotnik combined with the Black Doom blood stuff. And then Sage is, created by
Gross.
Dr. Robotnik, but also the ancient cyberspace gave her her human form and humanity. So the idea that they could kind of have that as kind of a mutual ground between the two of them, and Shadow would become kind of protective of her in, like, a Maria Robotnik kind of way. And she could refer to him as Uncle Shadow, because when you think about it, that's how it could be seen. And this could be the one
Technically,
person...
Shadow's Eggman's uncle, I think.
Well, yeah, but, like, he could be great Uncle Shadow, effectively. But, like, the idea that, like, in this regard as well, it's like maybe when there's the big heat of battle stuff going on and, like, the Eggman Empire is striking out and stuff like that, the one person Shadow goes a little easy on is Sage, and he ultimately wants to get her away from Dr. Eggman. But maybe this could also bring Shadow a little closer to Eggman as well, in kind of like a family dynamic, but it's kind of like that shithead uncle that comes to Thanksgiving and starts talking politics, like... I mean,
Eggman
I also...
would be the one to do that. Like, Shadow invites him to dinner or whatever, and then Eggman's like, so, I hate you. And Sage is like, Dad, why do you always gotta do that?
You're embarrassing me in front of Uncle Shadow. But
I hate you.
I also thought a similar sentiment to, like, if you did, like, a Sonic of the Future kind of thing, all the characters have come along a bit. I thought it'd be really funny to have Amy date Metal Sonic, and then Eggman becomes her father-in-law. It just makes so much sense to me.
That is like a Boom plot line or something. Like,
She
I
could-
feel like I could see that. They're all sitting at the table. Like, the episode of Boom where Amy and Eggman hang out because they both like that one TV show?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it could do that, except, like, they don't... almost just reuse that. Like, they're not getting along.
That's
And
the
then
thing
all of a
is, I
sudden,
love
at the dinner table, they say that, and then they go, you like the puppy show, too?
Yeah, the
I think it's
Fuzzy
about
Puppy
puppies.
Buddies, or what was it?
Yeah, it was something like that. Like, then they just...
That's the thing I love about Sonic Boom as well, though, is you could even take this in, like, a serious context. Obviously, they do it strictly for comedy in Boom, but, like, the idea of exploring a little bit of common ground between really unlikely characters is always just fun, in my opinion. And, like, I feel like you could have even more fun with it if... Because Boom Eggman is soft compared to, like, main series 616 sort of Eggman. Like, he's a big softie. He's more like a nuisance neighbor than he is an evil Hitler with robots that he is in, like, the main canon and stuff. I like the idea that we could do that with the really nasty Eggman that we've got in the games, but have the awkward situation of this Eggman has to be the father-in-law to someone he hates.
That's like it's like a similar vibe to, like, Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever. You open the door to Liz's house and there's the fucking vulture standing there, and it's like...
But then why would Amy be even surprised by that? It's like, I'm taking Metal Sonic to the homecoming dance. Robotnik opens the Death Egg door. It's like, wait a minute, Robotnik?
Wait a minute, how could this be?
This is also probably not a story you could tell with the more modern depiction of Amy, where she's a little less silly now. You could easily do it like Adventure 1 era Amy, like so easily. It would be actually like make too much sense. Nowadays she's way too sensible. It's one of those things where I do like that Ian Flynn has made her a bit more dignified, but there's a part of me that's like, let her have a little fun, you know? Like let's let her be a little silly from time to time.
It's sort of like the Princess Peach in the Mario movie situation, how they went, she is cool, badass hero, and it's like, technically, she is, yes, because she's gone on several of these things, you know, on her own.
But can we have both?
But also, there's a completely different side. They just said, we're not going to use this.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of lame, because they very easily could have made her super serious, badass action hero princess ruler, and then when she thinks people aren't watching, she, like, freaks out and is all, like, you know, like the games, like, all happy and fun and bubbly and stuff like that. Like, they could have done a lot with that, and I think with Amy they could definitely do the same thing.
Yeah,
but I do like that. I didn't really like the constant just like Sonic, like, don't do that.
It gets too far
like,
in Heroes, especially where she's like, I'm gonna beat you up if you don't marry me. But like,
that was bad. Yeah, that's not good.
I think, you know, one of the best examples is Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, because they let her be a little silly, but she's also, you know, an adult.
Yeah, actually,
you know,
that's a good
like.
It's funny because those are like the heavily fictionalized personalities of the characters, almost like for fun's sake. But those are more compelling versions of the characters than are in the games.
I feel like Amy's such an interesting character to talk about as well, because I think she's had one of the bigger transformations of the Sonic cast. But I don't know. Like, I feel like we just need a little room for her to be a little bit silly. Like in Frontiers, for example. Why couldn't she have at one point in the NPC dialogue went up to Sage and been like, "Why are you copying my hairstyle, you bitch?" Or something. Like, I don't know, just something silly.
Oh my god, they do have the same hair.
They have the same hair,
I never
right?
noticed that.
You noticed that.
Oh my god.
And you know something interesting is that the End's voice actors are both Cindy Robinson and Mike Pollock. So it's kind of like a fusion between Eggman and Amy. And Sage, you could, you know, aesthetically speaking, you know, make a case.
They do have the same. I didn't notice until. I mean, it's not like the exact same.
Well, from the back,
similar.
it's the same though. Like,
from the back, it is the same.
Yeah. From the back, she could just be zombie Amy for all anyone knows. Tiny dwarf zombie Amy.
I didn't know that about the voice actors. Also, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like love and hatred combined or some shit. I don't know. Maybe it's just that they're really good voice actors, but like it could be symbolic.
I think it's because they had them in the office and they were like, "Hey, could you guys do this?"
Hey, you guys are around, right? You're good, right? You want to do some simultaneous voice acting?
Yeah, they didn't just put the tracks together. They had to do it at the exact same time.
No, but they must do because like they have to match the timing. That must have been hard.
Couldn't someone just listen to it?
That must have been real difficult.
Listen to it a bunch and then do it at the same time.
I mean, do you know a similar thing kind of happened with you ever see the movie Buzz Lightyear of Star Command?
The movie?
Yeah. Well, there was an animated series, but there was also like a pilot movie.
I know the animated series. I didn't know there was a movie.
Well, there was a pilot movie.
I've seen this.
And originally, like, Buzz was voiced by Patrick Warburton the way he is in the show. But,
right.
They were able...
I did see that. Yeah.
They were able to get Tim Allen in to do the pilot movie. And so they had him go over all of Patrick Warburton's lines. But because it was animated to match Patrick Warburton's sort of timing, and it's very distinct... Tim Allen basically had to perform to the timing and sort of overall stylings of Patrick Warburton. So you end up with a very interesting performance. But yeah, it's probably like that, where it's like, you know, one of them will have recorded first. Probably Cindy, I'm guessing, given that she mainly has the female voice for the most part of the game and doesn't really get the male one until the very end. But yeah, I'm guessing Mike Pollock would have had to maybe have like headphones on and have to match the sort of cadence and timing of Cindy Robinson. But either way, like, where am I going? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know. Well, I don't think we had a topic anymore. I think we were just talking.
Maybe we should talk about Overclocked another time, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
We could give it its own devoted episode.
For a while now. Yeah.
Yeah. What even is the time anyway?
It is 4:06 p.m.
I don't know why I even
EST.
bothered asking you that. I'm at a laptop, which has a clock on it, and our time zones are different.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Super Chats, shall we?
Yeah, sure. All right.
All right. We've got a lot to get through here, so who wants to read first?
Right. Hold on. I'm opening it right now. Top chat. Fan funding. Okay. From our pal Jamal.
You're getting
It
it.
doesn't work for me because you say it differently.
No, you
You
get
say
it.
our pal Jamal.
Yeah, just say our pal. It doesn't matter. Everyone has said this to
Our-
me.
Our pal Jamal Simmons. $5 USD. Happy Bee Theory 2024 Years of the Bee. Have a Milk Bro weekend, guys. I thank you for doing this every week. I still don't understand what it means,
He's fun.
but I'm glad I got to read it.
He's basically produced a salad of some of the history of Sunset City. And the question is, what animal is 2024 all about? Do we know that?
I think it's Dragon. I think it's Year of the Dragon,
Are
right?
you sure?
I thought so.
2024, yeah.
People were saying Spyro 4, Year of the Dragon. Here we go, baby.
Yeah, bro,
It's
like
happening.
seriously, it is the Year of the Dragon. Dude, if they don't have a new Spyro game coming out, like what's even the point of this year being a thing?
I will piss if they do not make Spyro 4 Year of the Dragon again.
What?
Because the third one's called Year of the Dragon. So they could just be like Spyro 4 Year of the
Spyro
Dragon
4 Year
2.
of the Dragon 2.
I'd buy it. I'd buy it right now.
I would actually be so impressed if they had the balls to call it Enter the Dragonfly.
Oh. I played that again recently because I was like, I need to just feel how bad it is. It's like, oh.
I mean,
it's like Sonic 06.
what console did you play it on?
PS2.
Ah, see that's your big mistake right there.
It's like playing a game completely hammered.
Oh,
It's
dude, the
like-
load times in it as well. Like
Disgusting.
they make Sonic 06 blush. Like,
Sonic 06 is laughing at that game.
but that's also another thing is like I was explaining like any percent speed runs to my sister the other day, and I was explaining like,
It's just 4 minutes. Yeah.
well, yeah, no, she was saying like, oh, you completed Mario Wonder really fast. Is that a short game? I was like, that's a short game. It's a big game. It's just its main campaign is going to be fairly short. Well, or even then, I was like, games they're not as long as they used to feel when we were kids, And
Oh, yeah.
I was explaining like, how long it would take to beat Spyro Year of the Dragon, and she was like, oh, that would take ages because that's a huge game. I was like, is it though? And she's like, yeah, but remember how much time we spent on it when we were kids? I was like, you can beat it in 2 hours. She's like, what? And I then went on to explain Enter the Dragonfly. I was like, yeah, but the any percent speed run for Enter the Dragonfly is like 4 minutes because you could just glitch straight to the
done it.
Ripto fight. And then even then, like the majority of it, if you're doing it on PS2, is load times anyways.
That game is so pitiful because they were like, I think they were like, we're gonna have 4 hub worlds with like a ton of levels,
And they
there's
were
like
going to have
12 levels the
Ripto
whole game.
and Nasty Nork team up. And it's like, I kind of feel like...
Yeah,
if
they were gonna kiss.
Yeah, I want that for... Like, when they do, like, Spyro 4 It's About Time by Activision, I kind of want them to do the Ripto meets Nasty Nork. Or just bring back Ripto anyways, because I like Ripto. Like, when I think, who is Spyro's arch nemesis? It's got to be Ripto, right?
Yeah, it's Ripto.
Yeah.
It's not the sorceress. I can tell you that
Ripto
much.
just makes the biggest impression. He has the most nemesis relationship with Spyro. And it's probably
Okay,
down to the fact
the
that, like...
sorceress is really bad. She's really bad. Like, she's a
Evil.
genocidal maniac. But, like, Ripto's a better villain.
Well, it's the fact that, like, Spyro and the Sorceress do not interact until the very end. Bianca is the character that Spyro is interacting with throughout most of 3. Bianca's a great character, but she's not a villain. Like,
She's a hero. She turns into a hero.
Gnasty Nork is just shit. Let's be completely honest.
Nasty Dork is justified, actually. Because Nasty Dork's sitting around
And they just
doing
call him
fuck
ugly
all,
all the
hanging
time.
out,
Like,
and they call him ugly
Is
and
he even a
stupid,
villain?
and like, and he fights back, and it's like, okay, I get that.
like
No,
I
feel
get
you.
that, like, you could say that freezing people isn't very moral, but, like, neither is calling him ugly on TV. So, like...
Yeah,
I
when
don't
they
know,
knew
like,
he was
it's-
watching.
It's one of those things where it's against the law, but I'm not gonna blame him for it. It's like if you decide to break into, like, the Prime Minister's house and drop eggs all over his couch. Like, yeah, it's against
it's
the
like, that's
law, but,
confusing.
like, by all means, like, go for it.
Like, it's funny because I think they already banish him, right? Like, Nasty Nork begins the game.
Yeah,
like, when
why
we
did they
meet him,
ban it?
he
Like,
has been
I feel-
banished by the dragons for
I-
being ugly and stupid.
I would feel more motivated
He
if I
just gets-
knew why
like, I
he
think-
was banished.
I think he was probably, I'm gonna say it, Nasty Nork did nothing wrong.
It was inside
I'm gonna say
trading. Nasty Nork was just Yuji Naka the entire time.
Charles Champ, you gotta play Spyro 2 and 3. I think they're better than Spyro
I
1. They're
agree.
so good.
I think they're way better than Spyro 1. Spyro 1's good, but it's like when I was playing like the Reignited trilogy, and I was starting off at Spyro 1 because naturally you do. But like I was like, I know there's way better after this though. Like just being able to swim is one thing.
Like, I think Spyro 1's a good platformer for what it is, but Spyro 2 and 3 are really good Spyro games. Like,
Although
they
Spyro 1
become
is a
their
really
own
good
kind
theme
of game.
too. Oh no, man!
Oh, yeah.
The main menu music of Spyro 3 slaps.
Yeah. I like that you hear that in the Sparks levels and everything. Like,
Yeah. Oh, dude, like, oh man, I think the music of the Reignited trilogy, I could kind of like appreciate what they were trying to do, but like, I always switch to the classic soundtrack, man. Like, it just goes harder. Like Fireworks Factory, for example. Like, that track goes so fucking hard. And the Reignited
it's
version
funny. It
just
doesn't even sound like it belongs there. Like,
Yeah,
it sounds like it's...
Oh, I just thought of what I thought the weak link of Sonic Dream Team was.
Okay.
I'm gonna sound like a.
But I want to keep talking about Spyro.
I want to talk about Spyro too, but like it's a Sonic podcast.
No, we don't have to be.
You're right, but we'll cross that bridge another time. I think the music was the weak link of Sonic Dream Team, and that is not to say it's bad. It's not like what we have with like Sonic Superstars, where the music is a bit of a mess. It's legitimately just like it's fine. It ain't up there, you know? Like it ain't up there for Sonic. You know, it could compare it to like Otani's soundtrack for Sonic Runners, for example. It's like come on now.
Yeah, no, Runner's soundtrack, oh my god. That thing didn't need to go as hard as it did. Dream Team, I did never have a time where I was like, I don't like this song. I actually had a few songs I did like. But then, you know, like after the game ended, I was like, I could not tell you what any of these sound like except the first song, I think.
Yeah. Even then, sorry, I was just getting a phone call. Even then, like the
No worries.
instrumentation, like it's one of the things that sounds better through headphones. I'll say that much. The bass sounds kind of cool in headphones, but like it's yeah, it's just very it's very fit for purpose, but nothing more. And I was especially thinking like during the Nightmare Guardian boss, I was like, I need some of that Kellen Quinn stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can have both. I think we can easily have
We
both.
can have both, but this is too
Like-
soft. This is too soft for that.
Like, I feel like they could have thrown like a vocal theme into the final level of Dream Team, but like also I didn't specifically need it. You know,
It's
like
kinda
it
funny
was
having
fine.
like T. Lopes as like the big music guest star for the finale. You know, considering he started out as
Yeah.
like a fan, it's like now he's being brought in like he's Crush 40, which yeah, I'm
He's
not
the
against that
Sonic
at all.
guy.
I'm not against that. Like that's not me being like, oh bro, you think you're Crush 40 or something? No. T. Lopes is one of the absolute best composers Sonic has ever had. And I say that about everyone, but fuck off.
I mean, he's definitely one of my favorites. I'd say it's like Yoko Shimomura, Grant Kirkhope, David Wise, T. Lopes.
I think
Yeah.
Jun Sonoi is like the number one in my heart still. But I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, with Frontiers and the Titan tracks, like Otani really kind of he really was like, hey, I'm coming for you, buddy. You know, like that was my kind of thing. I was like, with the Otani excuse me, with the Otani soundtracks, I was like, I kind of miss how hard the Jun Sonoi music goes. And when I heard that Jun Sonoi wasn't like doing the music for Frontiers, I was like, ah, boy, like it'll be fine, but it's gonna be a little softer, you know, because like Fist Bump is not as hard as like Live and Learn, you know, like it's a good track, but it doesn't go as hard. Then the fucking Titan tracks happen. I was like, oh brother, look, I ain't gonna say it's better than Live and Learn, but it does go harder. Like this. I mean, if you ask me, the absolute best Sonic vocal track ever made is "I'm Here Revisited" from Update 3. That shit's amazing. Like that is just.
Okay, I could definitely agree there. Like, it's funny because I think in my video for Frontiers, the day one video I did, I mentioned my jaw kind of dropped in two different places for two different reasons.
Are you okay?
And it was the fact that, like, and it was the music. that like when you first square up with Giganto. First of all, I laughed because his name was Giganto, and I didn't know that.
That sounds like a DC
I thought that
Comics
was
character,
funny.
and I liked that.
Yeah. And then, but the music started, and I was like it's all of the Titan themes, and then I'm Here Revisited. Oh my god! Like I can't imagine those. Like I can't imagine these encounters with different music at this point. Like I've seen people replace music tracks on Game Banana. Like there are mods for it. Like, oh, here's the Titan theme version of Live and Learn over the Titan theme of like Giganto or whatever. And I'm like, but I really like Undefeatable.
Live and Learn doesn't belong there. Live and Learn
It doesn't need to be changed. Like these songs are now synonymous with, like, they're so good and they work so well in the moment that I could not imagine them with anything else.
Undefeatable is probably one of the most iconic Sonic tracks since, like, well, vocal tracks since, like, Reach for the Stars. That's
Do you
probably not saying
remember,
that much.
Pop, were you there when, it was Sam, it was at Sonic, the Sonic convention that we met at for the first time. That one, Sonic, was that Revolution?
Sega
No.
Fan Jam.
Fan Jam, sorry. Fan Jam. The one, were you at the panel with Evan and Sam where they were just talking about Sonic stuff? And they were like, okay, this next part, we're all gonna sing Undefeatable, the chorus part. And the whole room was singing it. And it was like, I was like, holy shit. Like, I felt so, like, a part of something. It brought people together.
I wasn't there for that because I didn't do any of the panels. I was just kind of hanging out. But, like, I kind of would have loved to have seen it, I guess. But, like, I remember how I felt when they did the Sonic Symphony in London. And the vocalist, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Vives. He says, do you want to hear some stuff from Sonic Frontiers? And I was like, oh, they're not. They're going to do the thing. And then break through it all. They did that live. Not just, like, with all the guitars and stuff, but with the orchestra backing it as well. And I'd fucking died and gone to heaven at that point, man. Like, I remember...
I haven't seen that. I gotta check that out.
Going in, I was saying to my buddy Dom, who was with me, I was like, do you think they would do any Titan tracks? I was like, I'm not going to take it for granted, but I want them to do Titan tracks. And just after that, I was like, I got my fucking Titan track. And I was like, oh, God, that's insane. Like, I think with Kellen Quinn and Otani, they found the new Crush 40 going forward. And I hope we'll still get Crush 40 stuff. I really hope there's still a place for Jin Sanoi's music and for Johnny Gioeli, because I fucking adore that sound. And I think it can go hand in hand. I think Otani and Kellen Quinn should be the sound of Super Sonic in the modern games. But I think for regular Sonic, Crush 40 and Jin Sanoi should be the thing. Because I just listened to, like, the Adventure 1 soundtrack, and it's just so much fun. Like, I like the themes they did for Knuckles, Tails, and Amy in Sonic Frontiers, but I was like, remember when these tracks were fun, though? Like, these are good tracks, but remember when it was just, you listen to it and you grin, you know? Like, that was what Sanoi's music did.
It kind of did. It did.
But it's like, people...
I could definitely go for that. I think separating it into little squads like that could be sort of neat.
Yeah, it makes me so sad that it's like, oh, we're getting Jin Sanoi back, but it's going to be for a classic game. It's like, oh, enough with that. Enough with that, man.
Yeah, I don't know what they... Like, do you think maybe he made, like, a bunch of good music and they were like, we don't want that. Make worse music.
It's hard to say. I think the intention with Superstars was to have Sanoi compose a lot of it, but then have the different artists go over it, because that's what happened with, like, Cyber Station and a lot of the other tracks is they had the different artists go over it. Bridge Island Zone is a Sanoi composition, but T-Lopes, arranged it effectively, and you can still hear the Jin Sanoi one online in, like, the beta tracks and stuff. But
is Bridge Island the first level? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What a stupid name.
It leads me to believe that, they absolutely meant to have different people rearrange these tracks. And I think some of them just got left.
I'm sorry. Webster just said, wait, which super chat is this in response to?
Shit. We were meant
this
to...
is
we did it to
overtime.
wrap up ages ago, and then we got talking about Spyro, and then I remembered what the weak link of Dream Team is, and my brain's all over the place.
I forgot we did the super chat.
Yeah, we did the super chat.
I forgot.
We did the one super chat.
That's awesome. I forgot. I totally forgot we're in like, what do they call it? Overtime. I was gonna say, what do they call it in sports?
I think it is just overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
Also, yeah, Gunnar mentions, forgot, but congrats to Casey Lee Williams of Robbie fame, being in the Sonic Symphony Seattle. What's she doing though? What's her role in this? Is she taking up the place of Mr. Vives?
More Spyro talk, good. You're
Gotta
right.
be said though. Vives. What is his first name? He is an incredible vocalist because he
Good vibes.
shut the fuck up. He did he did the vocals on tracks from like the Adventure games. He did vocals on like the Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack. He basically in the Sonic Symphony Live in London and a lot of other places where they haven't gotten like Johnny Gioeli or Kellen Quinn. He's done them all. He's done the lyrics for Reach for the Stars pretty much immediately after doing the lyrics for fucking Live and Learn. And then he's doing the lyrics for Breakthrough It All. It's like, guy's got range. Like, he's fantastic. Like,
Dude, I wish I like paid attention to stuff like that so I could like know and be excited about that, but I just hear song and I go, oh!
yeah, I kind of get you there. Oh, man.
I'm a terrible music listener. Like, you think like, oh, I really like this song by The Beatles. I should probably go listen to more by The Beatles, and then I just don't do that. Like, I'll have like one song from each artist on my phone because I'm a fucking freak.
I don't consider myself to be necessarily musically inclined. Like, I bum about with making chiptune shit, using sound fonts and stuff from time to time. I don't consider myself to be like a musician or anything. But I think my buddy Sam, who's like a music student at university, he's done like compositions for like indie films and stuff as well. He mentioned to me that I have a very good ear when it comes to music, and like when we were
Where'd you
watching
get it?
fucking the Doctor Who Star Beast episode, how I was able to point out different leitmotifs from like Murray's previous tracks and stuff. And he was like, I didn't even notice that. I was like, well, it just stood out to me.
You're very analytical. I feel like you use every sense that you have to form an analysis.
Coming from you,
The
that feels
Sonic
kind of
Frontiers tastes great.
feels kind of good. Oh man, Webster was also
Vibe you give off.
Webster was with me at the Sonic Symphony as well. That was a fun day. We had him and I don't know if Mr. Terry Chaos is in the chat right now, but he's also a nice dude.
I don't think I've seen the name pop up today.
Yeah, I don't think he's here today. But okay, I guess we should probably
Okay, one last thing.
Okay.
Last thing.
All right.
As I'm watching the chat box scroll,
Yeah.
out of the corner of my eye, I see. You know how they have that little reaction thing now? It's the heart.
Yeah.
It makes me think. Like I see it out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh, someone's putting a heart in the message. And I look back, it's like, oh no, nobody's done that the
No,
entire
but occasionally
stream. No,
you'll
that's
see
just
one
me
like
looking.
float up, because that is just something that the audience can just smash just to show us.
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
like,
love.
oh, look at that.
And maybe
It's
they
beautiful.
want to. Maybe I don't know. Like, maybe they want to show us a little love. I don't know.
I appreciate the love. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. Oh yeah.
There we go. No, you're clicking that, aren't you? That's
Aw.
you. You're doing that.
No, that's not me. I'm not.
You're doing
you would
that.
hear
You
it on my
sad
microphone.
bastard.
Yeah, I there was a fire there too. Ooh,
This
there's a
could.
bunch of them.
I'm still just thinking about Prince Florian wearing a garter belt and stockings.
What an out of nowhere statement that means absolutely nothing to anyone who's watching.
I put a tweet up about it. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't see.
No,
I don't
it's
go.
just it's how he like says like, you know, you got a new badge, and then when he says, "Do you want me to wear?" He's like, woo, woo, woo. And it's like he sounds like
Yeah, I
you're
know,
just
you
giving him
texted
lace
me that.
panties. Like he sounds.
You were
so...
like, why does Prince Florian always sound like he's equipping something scandalous when
he
you?
sounds a bit like it's like his
You want me
first
to wear it?
time. He's like,
Don't say
I
that.
don't want my dad to see me in these lace panties.
Oh, I hate that. Prince Florian's parents are dead, 100%.
Yeah, but like, which of Prince Florian's asses would you spank during like, you know, raw dogging behind?
All right, thanks for coming, everybody.
Ah,
Thanks
that's
for
what Prince
stopping
Florian
by.
said.
That's. Demetrius says, "I love that little worm."
Yeah, I got Super Mario Wonder, Super Mario Brothers Wonder for Christmas. If anyone's wondering, if anyone's
I fucking love that game.
wondering,
Oh, it's such a good game.
It is really amazing.
I remember
Like,
Pup and I were playing. We were doing the online mode, and I was waiting for him to get these wall jumps correct.
that wall
and he
jump
just
challenge
fucking-
was
he
really
was-
hard.
That wall jump challenge is hard, but the fact that I've played it like 8 times, I was just like, it was like I was treading water right above him, like on the platforms, and he just kept jumping up and not making it. I was like, come on, you can
And put
do
in
it.
the little cry
You can-
emotes
and I
as
felt
well,
like-
just to let you know I'm having a hard
I
time.
felt like I was showboating.
Man, what a great game.
Anyway.
Yeah. Listen, like, it hurt me saying, oh god, that is so much better than Sonic Superstars. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, but I also just had a peak gaming experience. So I was like, how fucking mad am I gonna? I'm not mad at Mario about this. I'm mad at fucking Sonic about this. Like, even
Like,
then,
I play a good Mario game, and it makes me sad for Sonic.
it's the thing about it though is I think timing is also a factor here, because if you take Wonder out of the equation, I still don't think Superstars looks that bad. It's by the books, and the little things it does to experiment mostly don't work, but it's all right.
Okay,
But then
this
you
is
bring
my
out
real-
Wonder, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna completely redefine everything about this and make it way better, and just everything that we could just pack fun into.
It really is.
We're just gonna do
I was
it.
kind of thinking about, and this will be my last thing for real, but like, I was thinking about, I feel like if imagine Mario Wonder was the bad one, right? Like it's reusing old things too much, and it's not doing anything with them, and it's just like kind of stumbling really bad. I feel like if Mario Wonder was like Sonic Superstars, we wouldn't be able to walk to the left in Mario Wonder. Like the screen would stop, like in Super Mario Brothers, because
Oh,
they
yeah,
would.
like in
They're
classics.
taking the things from Sonic that like
that kind of sucks.
it's like we're gonna make it like the classics, but they don't bring in things that enhance the classics. They go, here's the classic gameplay 1-to-1, but not like Mania where it's like fun and exciting. It's the same shit, but worse.
I was
Like
thinking
here it is.
about how would you
Read
even
another
address...
super chat. Ooh.
There isn't one. That was a troll.
Oh shit, you got me.
How
How am I gonna afford college now?
you'll be
Says
fine.
the college graduate.
You'll be fine. One of these days we'll get those sponsors in here and it'll be good.
Anyway, you were saying.
Shit. Never mind. Fuck it. It's time to end. We can't keep them on tenterhooks like this. So, Garrulus64, the YouTuber. What is happening on your channel?
Oh man, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do things. That's what I'm doing.
You are so
Keep watch.
slow
I'm
at
gonna
this,
be
man.
doing stuff.
Just make
You what?
something already. Just make some shit.
It's gotta be correct, or else I'm not gonna be satisfied.
Listen, man. You're treating this like you're prepping for the fucking Queen's birthday or some stupid shit.
You don't got those no more.
Yeah, good. Just make some shit, man. Just be like,
I do want to make. I think I know what I'm gonna do. I think it hit me finally, and I know what I'm gonna do.
oh, you
But I
heard?
won't say it.
It's overclocked, isn't it?
I have a lot of plans, but that's one of them.
It doesn't have to be a surprise. Just hype it up. Hype that shit up. Hype up what are you doing? What are you making? What's one of the ideas?
I don't know if it's gonna be hype to anyone but me. I'm kind of going back and forth because I'm like, I want to make something big to come back, but I also want to make something that I want to make.
All right. So Sonic. You're gonna make Sonic.
Sonic's in it. Sonic will be in it.
Sick.
Yeah, there's a Sonic related video with Sonic characters. Pup, what are you doing? What are you made to make? What are you doing?
I mean, I don't, you know, like,
Well, but Pup, it doesn't have to be a secret. It's gotta be a.
it's not me being secretive. I usually make the video on the day it gets released, so I just don't know right now.
Okay, no, that's fair.
I was thinking
I envy being able to make a video that fast.
I was thinking I kind of want to do like a little sort of a rewrite experiment on how I would maybe handle the bi-generation from the giggle a little differently, but that's a Doctor Who thing. Like Sonic fans ain't gonna give a shit about that.
But Sonic is in the Doctor Who show. He's in it all the time.
Yeah, but he's a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And now he's a gaming mouse.
Now, I don't know if I like that. I feel like it's a little too...
Yeah, I can live with it.
Cheesy.
It's alright. I like
Yeah.
it more than Jody's Sonic Screwdriver, and I like it more than Capone's.
Another one it looked like a wand.
Well, Jody's one looked like a dildo.
Alright, goodbye, everybody.
We done?
Yeah, leave it on that.
We out of here? He had one more thing to say before you all leave.
Bye. Bye,
Are
everybody.
you serious? That's it?
Bye.